Oh, Azogs.
Oh yes. As hogs walk. Actually, let me do that instead. Now I
Got
can
it.
actively see if my camera glitches out.
It doesn't appear to be on my end.
No. So normally
By
what
the way,
I'll
we're
do,
live.
I know, I'll pause the stream, but if I just mute it, I can actually watch, and that way I can see if there are any issues as well.
Okay. Well, anyway, welcome everybody to the Geekus Theoreticus podcast. This is my co-host Ludus, and I am Ashbakon.
Yeah.
And today we're doing an audience picks the topic, which we've done once before. It's our lazy way of making sure we don't have to actually research any topics, and all of y'all can just bring it up on the spot, and we can then talk about it.
And it is partially my fault because at work, if my wife hadn't covered my shift yesterday, I would have ended up working 10 days straight. So I'm just a teensy bit tired. So I really
Teensy
wasn't
weensy.
able to put in.
Also,
Yeah, I
welcome
wasn't really
Fincarn. You're first today. Nice job, man. How you doing?
welcome, Fincarn. So that's more on me because I wasn't able to really do any research this week, honestly, outside of researching who not to kill at work.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's been a bit of a hectic week myself. Been working mostly on fresh models and everything for Warglaive. Writing the first novel, which is going pretty smooth, I think. So yeah, I'm booked pretty much the entire day, into a little bit into the night. So that seems to be the norm at the moment. Welcome, Dragonus. Your second, my good man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? Are you doing well? So, just to let everybody know, I have the call line thing right in front of me. So we're also going to have that open through the entire stream. As audience pick and choose topics, we're also going to have an open call line. So just whenever or if ever anyone has any up to 2 questions that they just want to ask me and Ludus, it can be 40k related, it can be general hobby and geek related stuff, or it can be about us. Any questions like that, all the only rules I have for it is no politics, or at least no overt, like, you know, hey, who'd you vote for in the latest election, like nothing like that. In universe politics, like the ecclesiarchy, the Inquisition, all that stuff, go ahead. I have very strong opinions.
Oh, by the way, so I actually have a video that I'm doing specifically for one of my managers because I sent her a meme. She's a very big Star Wars fan.
Ooh.
And
Old school or new school?
I think she's more just a general Star Wars fan, but I think she leans more towards old school, but I'm not 100% sure on it.
Oh, okay.
So I sent her the meme of the Ultramarine pinning a stormtrooper up against the wall, and the caption is "Wrong Emperor, bitch." And so in honor of that, after
well, you gotta give the story. You gotta feel bad for the stormtroopers, because if the two universes did ever collide, and they looked at least at the what the Imperium's emperor once looked like versus their emperor. Their emperor looks like how our emperor looks now. So
young Arnold Schwarzenegger, or swollen ball bag.
that sounds like he's gargling nails.
Yeah. But no, so in all seriousness though, I'm going to do Imperium versus Galactic Empire, and even though I know that's going to be a wonderful raffle stomp, I know how bad that's going to be. It would still be funny, but I will say this, I am going to take out some of the fluff bullshit from Star Wars, because and as much as you're going to love this and laugh at me, this is something I learned from Arch. The
I just imagine you watching Arch's videos with this large notebook.
No. It's just I remember
with a heart cut out of Arch's face on the front.
No. I remembered this because I like military history and I love military shit. But I also remember this because this will actually be something that's so outlandish even you could remember it years down the road. Because last time I watched this particular video was about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
All right.
The Clone Wars era blaster rifle, the one you see in the actual Episode 2 Clone Wars movie when they're attacking
The long
Geonosis.
gun, right?
The long one, yeah. It has the penetration and range of now what you might assume would be, you know, like your standard infantry rifle, maybe a little bit better than what we have in modern times. No, it has the penetration range of a goddamn battleship cannon.
Not the same power though.
Yes.
Same range.
Absolutely.
Same range, not the same power.
No, same penetration depth too.
Well, that's depth. That's not like actual.
No, it
diameter
eats
of the
through.
blast.
It eats through the actual like the Star Wars version of concrete at the level that a battleship battery would.
Seems kind of OP.
So I'm going to
wait, so you're telling me a lightsaber can deflect something like that? I feel like that also brings into account that question. It's like, okay, so a lightsaber is so... Well, the thing is, take away the lightsaber being able to deflect that, you gotta give credit to the fucking Jedi who are able to hold that thing. It's like, I just got shot at by a small cannon, and I didn't get flown off my feet. I was able to deflect that motherfucker like a fucking baseball with a baseball bat. Fucking nailed it.
Yeah, Murder Skin said the laser rifle is pitting 15-inch armor plate. So I'm gonna do shit that seems reasonable, but like that outlandish bullshit that they might as well be holding a man portable battleship cannon. That I might not use, but do shit that seems more realistic. Or at least realistic, like in universe lore. Because, yeah, that was, I saw that, I read that, and I looked it up myself, and I was like, bullshit!
Yeah, I feel like that's just something they wrote up and didn't quite think about clearly enough.
Because here's the thing. Okay, so you know the lore of the last gun, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know when
Our
the last gun... the favorite flashlights. But you know when it hits an unarmored target, it literally heats them up to the point where they basically explode.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever it hits, they explode. See, that makes sense. This is not the same thing. This is just saying it is powerful enough to blow, I think it was like 15 inches through whatever the StarCraft or Star Wars version of concrete is. Which is like past reinforced concrete.
I'm not fresh up on Star Wars concrete lore.
Well, no, I know there's a difference between penetration capability and kinetic energy, because if it had the same kinetic energy, every time a clone trooper would fire his rifle, his arm would be about 500 feet behind him. And then their version of commissars, because that's a funny thought, would essentially be there. All right, next one.
Can you imagine if every clone trooper just jumped as they fired? How far they would go?
That would be hilarious. Well, no, and so the argument is they don't have any kinetic energy. Okay, well, that's fine that they don't have any kinetic energy. Does not account for the unrealistic damage that it can do.
All right, I gotta welcome everybody, though, while we were in the middle of this rant. Welcome Calkiel, Captain UFO, and Dragonis, and obviously Murder Skidden and Alex.
Yep, welcome Alex, because Alex was the newest one. But yes, welcome Murder Skidden and Finn Karn and Captain UFO and all you wonderful people. But yeah. So, I mean, like, it could have no kinetic energy, and I'm fine with that. That's, to an extent, in lore explainable. What I don't really appreciate is the fact that they are essentially carrying around man-portable battleship cannons. I mean, that's not, no. I'm not good with that. That's like the argument of saying.
To be fair, though, Star Wars is science fantasy, so
that's fair. But it's also to the point, and I love this because this argument was actually going on in my comments a while.
Or space fantasy. Sorry, most people say there's virtually no science with Star Wars. It's just fantasy with the skin of sci-fi, so it's space fantasy.
But
Um,
I saw people debating in my comment section a couple days ago on the video I did months ago of Imperium versus Terran Dominion about the fucking Starcraft Marines rifle versus a Stardust armor again. I'm never going to get away from that. I opened a can of worms that I did not know I had opened.
yes, science. All right. So our first audience question: which High Lords do you like? I don't know any off the top of my head.
I don't even see that.
It was towards the top of the chat. It was the second thing Dragona said.
Okay. Which High Lords do you like? Um, if
I
I
got
had
nothing
to,
for this one.
I actually have something, but this is a roundabout way of just getting out of the fucking question. If I had to pick, also going from 30k, it would be the Master of the Assassinorum, who at the time was
Wait.
Malcador.
Hold on. Can Malcador the Sigilite count?
That's who it was Malcador the
Oh,
Sigilite.
okay, because if we're counting Malcador, him, he's the only one I know though, off the top of my head.
That was my way of getting out of the fucking question.
That's the only one I fucking know.
It was my way of sounding smart when I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about.
That is literally all I fucking got is Malcador. I don't even usually. I think do you usually think of Malcador as a High Lord? I know he was factually a High Lord of Terra, but he's not. You don't really think of him as a High Lord though, not as we like contextually think of them now. He was more the Sigilite than Malcador the High Lord.
Yeah. Also, you can blame Malcador for essentially the Imperium now. Which is funny. As much as everyone loves Malcador, they don't realize that he single-handedly created the worst Imperial faction ever.
Became the worst. It wasn't when he was around.
Oh no! Within literally 1,000 years, it became absolutely horrible. Within 1,000 years.
I will say that was short-sighted. It was like, oh, when without me in 1,000 years, this goes downhill. Probably should have thought about that. To be fair, though, the Emperor, who was supposed to be basically God, made bigger mistakes than that. So I think we can cut Malcador a little bit of slack there.
Here's something interesting that you might not know, because I did the research on this one when I did my, the writing for humans in 30k versus 40k and Astartes versus 30 and 40k. Cinderman, the Iterator, he ended up becoming an Inquisitor. Now, hold on a minute. He was an iterator of, he was like the main iterator of the Imperial Truth aboard the Vengeful Spirit. So he was kind of like the main guy preaching, the secularism of the Imperial Truth. Ends up becoming an Inquisitor, becoming one of the most fanatic Inquisitors. It ends up getting a body account that would astonish most Chaos, named Chaos characters, both loyal and traitor. And then as he's dying, he goes, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. He, completely forgets who he was, which is actually kind of interesting. Fincarn says, as much as we meme on the Inquisition, they have also done good shit in universe. Really, what? I'm curious.
Well, I know where he's coming from. Typically the meme with the Inquisition is just exterminatus everything and fuck everything up. But they are also kind of the detectives of, major events and stuff.
I mean, Eisenhorn is pretty cool. There are cool Inquisitors, but overall, they're kind of a net negative at this point.
Again, it's one of those things where it depends on, how you look at the Inquisition. Are you looking at the individual Inquisitors who do good shit? Who actually do their job, investigate, and manage worlds correctly, actually are doing their job and are actually trying to sift out chaos where they find it, versus the macrocosm of the entirety of the Inquisition. That, once you look at the macrocosm of the Inquisition, the memes are there for a reason. Like,
Yes.
there's quite a few Inquisitors who their first move is to exterminate as shit. There's quite a few Inquisitors who very much stick to the Inquisition's motto, which is innocence proves nothing.
Pretty much.
The Inquisition as a whole is pretty fucking bad. They do way more worse things than good as a whole. Individual Inquisitors who actually take their fucking job seriously, they're the ones that justify their existence at really all. And they're few and far between.
Nobody knows when the Inquisition does their job well, and everyone knows when they fuck up. Well, that's not necessarily true. Because you do have Inquisitors like
You definitely know when you're doing well because you're still alive.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the only indicator.
There were a couple more, and I really can't think of them. Eisenhower is the only one really coming to mind, honestly. But there are good Inquisitors, and there are just a lot more bad ones.
Yep.
The problem is the Inquisition, when it was first created by Malcador the Sigillite, was actually a really good idea. It was. The problem is within the period of 1,000 years, it got completely corrupted. It didn't waste any time.
Yep. But the Imperium as a whole kind of fell down the shitter very quickly after the Horus Heresy. So
yeah,
it's not like the Inquisition's unique in that it's fall from grace.
I actually want to look something up now.
The organization is bad, but single Inquisitors can be good. Yeah, like I said, nobody knows when Inquisition does it. Okay, I heard that. They lost their purpose fast. Yeah, I'd say without Malcador leading the way and actually establishing them properly, they, in their attempt to find purpose and with more corrupt individuals making their way to the top of the Inquisition, led to its eventual overarching downfall.
The same with the Assassinorum, too.
Well, the Assassinorum is often considered a lower branch of the Inquisition.
I wouldn't say that. It's completely separate from the Inquisition.
The Inquisitors are the ones who order them around the most.
That's true, but High Lords can order them around to an extent. Some Astartes chapters can order them around. Well, not order them around. Ask for aid. Usually if an Astartes is doing it, they won't say no.
The Assassinorum is mainly under the Inquisition's control, though. Because if a High Lord commands a Vindicar assassin to kill an Inquisitor, and the Inquisitor gets word of it and hears of it and orders the other way around, who do you think they're going to listen to?
You should know a very golden High Lord of Terra, who is my favorite. Oh, is it that Custodes fuck who I can't remember his name? Constantine Valdor.
I don't even know.
Well, I pulled that right out of my ass. I'm not gonna lie.
This is the downside of Forticator. There's so much to remember.
Oh,
something gets left in the wayside.
Trajan Valoris, who I'm also assuming is still a custodian because the hint was covered in gold. Either he is a custodian, or he's a Slaaneshi worshipper who has a fetish for gold. One of the two. The Assassinorum is a different branch, but the Inquisition tends to give them targets, but the Assassinorum is under no obligation to act on the Inquisition's request. That's what I was thinking.
As far as I recall from my research in the Assassinorum, they're almost universally controlled by the Inquisition. But I'll have to double check that. Because I can't think of anyone else other than maybe a High Lord who might order them around. And even then, I'm pretty sure the Inquisition has a hierarchical say in whether that happens or not. Also, isn't it the Inquisition who collects, or I guess an off-branch of the Inquisition that collects the eventual recruits into the Assassinorum?
No, not always. Some of them, I'm trying to think of what kind they are. I can't, because it's not just the Inquisition. Um, they, if I remember right, this is a specific one. Who are the blanks? I'm trying to remember what they're specifically called. I can't think.
The female blank. Are you talking about the of the Assassinorum?
Yeah, of the Assassinorum. It's a specific temple, but they're all blank. They're all pariahs, similar to the
yeah, the
Sisters of
the nightmare ones that are their blank ability is enhanced like tenfold.
I believe they actually get recruits from Young Sisters of Silence and from male blanks that the Sisters of Silence find as well. If I remember right. Yeah, he is
Caluxus.
the custodian captain.
Caluxus sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always remember Vindicare assassins the most. I don't know why.
Yeah, mine is it's Vindicar and oh damn it, now I can't remember what they were. It's the crazy motherfuckers, which is really not shortening that list any.
And you could argue every one of them are crazy to a degree. What's that rule? What's the name of that Rule 34 one?
Eversor.
Yeah. Wait.
No. I'm talking about Eversor is the one.
I was about to say that's wrong. No, what's the stealthy gals who?
The ones who shape change.
Yeah. I call it the Rule 34 one
Galatas.
because whenever I look up images for reference for research,
It's always Rule 34.
it is. All I do is type in the name after I double check the name in the Warhammer in the 40k lexiconum, and once I confirm I got the name right, I then Google images. I have to sift through all the Rule 34 shit first. It's like Google's like, oh, you must be asking because of this. I'm like, no, I'm not. Not a wank session. Can I please just get artwork that depicts them normally? It's weird. Calidus?
Yeah,
Calidus sounds
Calidus,
right.
yeah.
Thank you.
I got,
also
like...
welcome Caleb Dighton. Dighton?
Yes, I love this. This is funny. I found a picture of a Calidus assassin with the picture of an orc. Like, literally, like a drawing of an orc's face just strapped to her face. Oh, God.
That would work.
It would. That's the fucked up part, is it would. Oh, shit. But no, I'm not really finding, like, you could say some of them are... They're not really NSFW, but you know they got that big ass. Big
ass.
But that's about it.
I saw, when I looked it up, it was a shit ton of Rule 34, and all I did was put in the name. All I did was put in the name.
Eversor drug pumped berserkers. Yes, they are. They are fun too. I love those guys. They are essentially.
Well, all they do is put these people through psycho conditioning, pump them up with drugs, put them in cryo, and then when it's time to let loose the beast, drop them on the planet and wait for everybody to die.
No, you're not wrong, because this is literally like the last step before Exterminatus, and I love it. It is absolutely hilarious.
Actually, it kind of makes every time I think of the Eversors. Typically, you know that clip from that animated clip from one of the TF2 trailers? It's like, I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me. I always think of, like, that's essentially the Eversors.
Yeah, that makes actually perfect sense.
And once you put someone through that much psychosis and make them lose their minds to that degree, this... yeah, you're not dealing with a human. I wouldn't even really call it a mad dog off its leash. It's even crazier.
Yeah,
and maniacal. Because the thing is, Eversors and Caluxus, I think that's right, Temple. Both of them are fucking nuts. Because they both affect the mind. Obviously, with the Eversor, their own mind is fucked up and they kill everybody around them. But with Caluxus, I'm assuming that's the right name. With the blanks, they fuck up every you gotta know that the blank who has that stuff on him and he's all enhanced and making everybody like want to just claw their eyes out around him you gotta know he's a little crazy too. It's like just when you walk in the room with so much swag and everybody's like, ah!
Yeah, the Colexus are the pariahs.
Yep.
Um,
Although I do think they look kind of dumb.
oh,
The helmet design on the Colexus.
Oh yeah.
My only thought thinks that looks a little dumb.
Oh, I love the first line on the dot fandom. The Colexus Temple is one of the most sinister and feared orders of the Officio Assassinorum, and its assassins have been described by the Eldari warlocks as nothing short of the embodiments of pure evil. I love that. I love that because it's something that freaks out the Eldar, makes them piss their little pants.
Yep. Alex says meat grinder on legs. I'm assuming that's in relation to the Eversaurs.
Yeah, essentially.
Yep. I fear Vindicara more than Eversor. Really? You fear a sniper over an Eversor? Sniper is just a shot to the head.
Pretty much. Eversor. See, here's the thing.
Eversor is like Wolverine minus what semblance of sanity he has.
Well, no, I was going to say, see, here's the thing. With the Vindicar, you really aren't taking a chance because it's a sniper. With the Eversor, you're taking a chance because he might kill you quickly or he might savor it.
Depends on how many other people are around you. If he's dealing with a group, he'll probably kill you quickly. If he's dealing with just you, it's playtime.
The Assassinorum and Inquisition are separate organizations, both created by Malcador. The Grand Master can choose to ignore all orders from the Inquisition, but the Inquisition borrows assassins and can order them. Well, yeah.
Okay, well that's a bit confusing, because if they can receive orders from the Inquisition, but the Grand Master can refuse virtually all of them, that does beg the question then. Because I was always under the understanding that the Assassinorum was directly under the branch of the Inquisition, or at least controlled by them. If they're not controlled by the Inquisition, who's in charge of their entire?
The Grand Master of Assassins, who is also
who's above him?
He is a High Lord of Terra.
Okay, so the
Grand Master of Assassins is a High Lord of Terra.
Okay, that makes sense.
You can nuke Eversor, good like finding out where... You can nuke Eversor, good like finding out...
How many nukes do you have in your back pocket, kitten? How many nukes do you have in your back pocket you can just wallop?
I love the idea of, like, you can nuke the Eversor, but it would be harder to find the sniper. Because I'm thinking, like, okay, so you don't know where the sniper is, so you're going to... Let's assume you're in a city, and they're outside the city. You could have artillery just bombard the area where you think the fucker is. But let's say you know exactly where the Eversor is outside the city, because Eversor tend to be a little bit noticeable.
I wonder why.
And
it's like, hey, you notice that giant mist of red over there? Yeah, that's the Eversor.
Yeah, that's one dude. You can shell the shit
out
of that.
Wait. You want to know, like, the perfect, like, reaction to, like, you know that clip from The Mummy? The one with, fuck, what's that actor's name?
Brendan Fraser?
Yeah, the Brendan Fraser one. You remember that early scene in the first Mummy movie where him and Benny are right there? Why did I remember Benny's name? But I don't. But they're there with the gun line defending their position. The horses are coming at them to attack, and he's like, Benny, you're gonna stick with me, right? And he's like, your strength is my strength. And then he just sees them coming. He's like, nope, and runs. That's how that scene. Just trade the horses out for just one Eversor running at the gun line. It's like, nah, I'm good. I'll just bury myself in the tomb over there. We're cool.
The thing is, the snipers too often fail their objectives because they have too little intel. I would say the changelings who can be everyone are the scariest ones. I mean, that's a valid argument, actually.
Wait, what?
The Colexus Temple, the changeling ones. Dragonis said they're scarier than the snipers because they could literally be anyone.
Yeah, the snipers often fail their objectives because they have little intel, which is true. Yeah. Well, the thing is, the Calidus assassins, they are typically sent. What's the term? Well, behind enemy lines, but there's
as espionage.
Yeah, I guess that's the word. There was another one I was thinking of, but we'll go with that. They're sent with espionage in mind. Like they can shapeshift into the enemy's form and take their position for sometimes a month, a week, sometimes years.
Longer.
Like they're.
Oh man, I have something I must address. Murderous Kitten said, Ludus, good luck bombarding snipers. U.S. Army tried that in Vietnam. Yes. But you know where it was successful? Actually, in World War II. They, I believe it was the Germans had a relatively, take that for what you will, higher success rate of shelling Russian snipers than the U.S. did in Vietnam, because also terrain is a factor.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you're fighting in a jungle, where even if you napalm giant swaths of it, you still have a gigantic fucking forest that refuses to get burnt down.
Well, let's not also
and tunnel systems up the wazoo.
Calidus are the changeling ones. Which ones are Calyxus then?
Calyxus are the pariahs.
The blanks.
Yeah,
okay.
The good way to remind it is Calyxus is pariahs. Calidus is the shape-shifting Rule 34 ladies. That's the only way. The thing is, there's too many memes. There's too many memes and too many images I've seen. At this point, I can't separate the two. So,
Vindicar are
the assassins, and then you have the Eversor, who are...
I love how you just did Vindicar the assassin.
They are assassins.
They're the snipers. They're all assassins.
I know, but they're the sniper assassins. You know what I mean.
Murderous Kitten said because Russian snipers are amateurs. No, it's terrain. It's literally terrain. The Eastern Front.
Just stop arguing with him. Kitten is one of those people where he's got his perspective. That's it.
But I literally know the answer to this one.
He's the kind of guy who will run at a wall continually, and no matter how many times you say, hey, that wall's not going to go down, he'll keep going at it. Doesn't matter if made out of brick, drywall, concrete, mud. Like, just keep going. Just let him at it.
Calyxus used their cortexes. Ugh. I vomited in my mouth a little.
Is that supposed to rhyme?
I guess.
Calyxus use their cortexes.
The 7th rule of the Vindicaria Temple: every bullet must be accounted for, and every shot must have its purpose.
Isn't that like the general philosophy with a sniper though? Like you don't fire. Like the thing is, in the real world, like you don't. If you're in a hostile territory and you're a sniper and you're given like an assassination objective, any shot you fire is going to draw attention. Because there's only so much you can silence a sniper shot, especially if it's a heavy caliber. So you really don't want to waste any... Like, you're not going to shoot... Like, while you're impatiently waiting for your target to arrive, you're not going to, like, pot shot a couple... I don't know. Let's say, like, a bucket off another roof or something. You're not going to waste a shot. At least I wouldn't think that would make sense. Obviously, I'm not a sniper, I can't say, but... That would be a general philosophy with being a sniper that would make sense to me, is all.
Murderous Kitten said there's my opinion and wrong opinion.
See what I mean? Run at a brick wall, and it doesn't matter how many times he keeps going at it.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of snipers, here's an interesting topic that you might like. I'm going to completely butcher this name, but I am going to try. Does the name Simo Hai sound familiar?
Hey, send me the spelling of that.
I can't because it has umlauts on it. Actually, I might be able to. I don't know if it'll translate to Discord. Will it translate to Discord? Oh, it does translate to Discord.
Sumo Haya.
See? See, it's not that fucking easy, is
No,
it?
I think that's the correct pronunciation is Simo Haya.
And two people already got it in the chat. His sobriquet is known as the White Death.
Yeah, I do know. He fought in the Winter's War, correct?
Yes, killing over 500 Russians as a sniper.
Yep, and he did all of it with iron sights.
Iron sights. Here's the amazing part. Like the last, I want to say 50 of his kill count was without half of his space.
If I recall correctly, when he received his injury, he was discharged. I don't think he continued fighting after.
Oh no, you're right. Because I want.
Because that's why he was discharged, was because he had his face blown in.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say, in my opinion, the coolest part of is not only the general strategy he had, with his understanding that a scope is this big round thing that can reflect light and can also give away your position. Also, surrounding himself in snow mounds, so when he would fire the gun, it wouldn't be suspect, and to avoid his breath going up, he put snow in his mouth. All of that was genius. But the coolest thing, in terms of achievements, I think he had was the group. There was a sniper squad sent by the enemy directly with the purpose solely of killing him. And he killed all of them, one by one. Like, do you know how badass that is? A group of snipers with the sole objective of killing you, and you pick them off one by one before they even can get a shot off on you. I think that is impressive.
So I want someone to correct me if I'm wrong. Because I'm not 100% sure about this, but technically he fought for the Axis.
I don't believe... Actually, no, he didn't.
Or wait, he fought against the Soviet Union.
Was it World War II, though?
It was World War II.
Wait, I need to double check that.
Now, if anyone can correct me on that one, because I'm not that big on, like, Scandinavian World War II history, so Norway, Finland, and Sweden.
I don't believe he fought for Axis.
Yeah, so that's something that... Okay, the Finnish were not an official ally of Germany. Okay. I didn't know if that's like if it was kind of like
no, because the Winter's War was solely between, or at least it wasn't. This was one of those like smaller wars in the bigger war kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, and that's something that was kind of interesting because from the way it was worded, and I also had I really, like I said, I don't know that much about Scandinavian history as far as World War II. Is from the way it sounded because the Soviets invaded them. I thought that they were. Oh, okay. So
you got to keep in mind that the Soviet Union wasn't exactly discretionary in their invasion wave. It was just us to our enemy. Everything in between we're taking.
Well, Kalkil essentially said I was half right. In the Finnish-Soviet Winter War, the Finns were an independent player. They joined the Axis out of convenience later. Yeah, and also Alex Grigorov pointed out the Russians wore green outfits in the middle of that fucking winter.
I wonder how a man with iron sights was able to pick all of them off. Just nothing but white and then like five little dots wearing green. You know what? I think that might be them. But even with that factored in, sniping people with iron sights is still impressive.
Oh yes, oh absolutely. Winter's War was before Germany invaded the USSR. Okay. Actually, I didn't learn more about this from Sabaton. I actually watch another YouTuber. He's a retired Marine and he reacts to different stuff. And one of them just happened to be he reacts like drill sergeants doing what some people like myself would call hilarious stuff to new recruits. And one of them happened to be on the White Death, so I was really interested in that.
Just real quick, just want to remind folks that if anyone, the call lines are open at any time, so if anyone wants to jump in the Discord, I'll provide a link here. And if you guys want to jump in the call line VC, I can put you guys into our call chat, and you can ask up to 2 questions. They can either be about us, they can be about 40k, they can be about geeky stuff. Only rule I have is no politics. Real world politics. Obviously, you have to have a mic.
That helps. So, are you excited for Ozog's walk?
I already know the lore, but I'm interested to see your video about it.
I will say this: I did the first 5 videos, and it literally goes, "Hey, you know, this is my first real time getting into the greenskins." Second one is, oh, hey, I'm actually picking up steam. Third one is like, wow, I've made it pretty far. Fourth one is, oh, everyone's butt fucking me. Fifth one's like, okay, I need to regroup.
Do you already have a video up about Tesca Demon Killer?
I don't know.
That's definitely something to put on the list.
You
gotta put. You always gotta put that on the list. The only happy ending in 40k.
That is fair.
What is your favorite universe besides Warhammer and Warglaive? I think we kind of gone over this, but I think we would usually go specific categories. So, but in general,
see, you're thinking about this, and I'm trying to remember at the same time.
I'm not sure, because usually Warhammer is my favorite, besides my own universe. I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to think what mine would be, too.
Usually I break it down by category, because there's just too many to choose from.
If I did have to pick a favorite universe besides Warhammer, it'd probably be the Fallout universe. But that's mostly because I've been playing Fallout a lot here lately, and I'm really getting back into the lore of it, and it's actually really cool.
Yeah, that's a really hard one, because there's so many that I can think of that I really like and really enjoy. So it's really hard to narrow down. I'd probably say I would have said Star Wars.
I would
probably would have. I probably would have said Star Wars around 5 or 6 years ago. My opinions changed quite a bit. Quite a fucking bit. Would have said Star Trek 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. That's also changed.
Yep.
But that's for sci-fi. I mean, for fantasy, I probably would say Lord of the Rings. Either Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. Although the way Game of Thrones the way Game of Thrones ended, I kind of knocked that off the list too. I don't know, it's kind of hard.
Shit, I know there was another pairing someone wanted me to do, and I can't remember what it was now. I can't remember if it was in my comment section or something like me and you talked about off to the side. Because I know I talked to you about this. Actually, if people want to throw this in the comments, I got this in my comment section of some of my YouTube videos. People want me to do the entire faction of orcs from 40k versus the Kaprulu sector from StarCraft 2. And me and Asmagon had our lulls about this one.
I already pointed out how that would go. It'd be worse than the Zerg.
Would be. That's the best part. Okay. With a snake bite, try to be able to wrangle toxic Zerg to harvest its toxin. Would they be able to figure out how to transform a looted siege tank? Could purple orcs sneak past Terran sensors? Would they put a Yamato cannon on a Gargant? The answer
Yes.
to all these is yes, probably.
Who asked that?
It was someone in my comment section. Their name is Speaking Minds. He's actually been he's been really cool. So it's not that I'm making fun of him. It's just I love the idea of it. I really do. uh.
Yep. To do my best to answer that question, Dragonis, I'd have to say Lord of the Rings. It's probably my favorite universe outside of 40k, given everything. But
We do not talk about the D&D abomination. What the fuck?
I don't know what that's in reference to. That might be in reference to. Might be in reference to Game of Thrones. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I was just picturing orcs in the Caprulu sector, and I couldn't stop laughing internally. Actually, here's an interesting thought. Warhammer Fantasy Orcs versus Warhammer.
Oh, he meant the producers of Game of Thrones. That's right, because it's Dan and David, something like that. They were affectionately referred to by the fan base until they turned into dickheads. As D&D.
Ah. Did you hear what I said?
What'd you say?
Interesting matchup. Mostly because I would have to do a little bit more research into this one. Warhammer Fantasy Orcs.
Alright, hold on. We got someone in the call line.
Ah, crap. Okay. Now I have to remember what I was talking about.
Hold it at the tip of your brain. Alright, Calcul, you're on the air. You are allowed to ask up to 2 questions from me and Ludus. Personal questions about us. They can be questions about 40k, Warglaive, any kind of geeky stuff. And he just left the call. Well, okay then. So what were you thinking?
Oh, he's back. Back again.
Yeah, but he left the call originally, so I'm now gonna let you finish asking your question.
Oh no, it's more of a rabbit hole for us to go down, so we'll go and get Calcul out of the way.
Okay.
Well, that sounded a lot meaner than what I meant it as.
Alright, Calcul. Your mic not working? What's up?
Calcul is muted.
He has muted himself. I don't think I can forcibly unmute him.
No, you can. If someone mutes themselves, you can't unmute them. Which I find very interesting. And he left again. Okay, so rabbit hole. The Warhammer Fantasy Orcs versus the Warcraft Orcs.
Warhammer Fantasy would win, if I recall some of their lore correctly.
But it would be actually a really cool fight, though.
Wait, is this? Are we talking Horde versus Warhammer Fantasy Orcs? Or are we talking Orcs v Orcs?
Orcs v Orcs.
Yeah, Warhammer Fantasy Orcs, from what I know of them.
See, that's where I'm leaning, but I would have to do a lot more research into it. But that would be a cool matchup, though.
And yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I'm gonna do that one because reasons. Now I have my 5 horror videos planned out.
How is Doggy doing, Asmagant? You mean Juno, my dog? She's okay.
I think I'm having technical problems since I can't hear you say a thing in the call. I'll be back later, though. It could be that you have, check your audio settings on Discord. That could be why. You might have the, wrong output. Because I know that happens to me sometimes. Alex Grigorov, whole horde of just orcs.
So original Horde.
Yeah, the orcish horde. No trolls, no Tauren.
It's still referred to as the Orcish Horde, isn't it?
No, it's now just referred to as the Horde.
Because I usually think it's referred to as the Orcish Horde because it was created by the orcs. And some of the styling is directly influenced by the orcs.
Mm-hmm.
Callum Dayton, sorry, need to head. Got a headache trying to get bash a raptor model. Alright, well, hope your headache gets better. Take some ibuprofen or acetaminophen, and have a good day.
Oh, okay. So Alex Grigorov corrected himself. He said whole horde or just orcs. No, it's the idea is the orcs from Warhammer Fantasy versus the orcs from Warcraft. Not the horde, just the entire race of orcs.
Hey Ace, hey, how's it going? How are things? Pretty good. Hey Ludus, how are things?
Things are interesting.
That's good. That's good. Very good.
They almost made me work 10 days straight at work. That's how things are going. And I had to correct them.
Oh joy.
That, and they said they were going to give me and my wife a set schedule from now on. And the only time they did it in the past 5-6 weeks has been like twice. So I need to write it down for them, apparently.
In black and white, in bold lettering.
Yeah. Think you'd be up for another live stream later, says Ace. Ace.
Well, I am going to be doing another live stream lately. I was going to play some Black Mesa. Oh, we got Tangular in the line. Alright, Tangular, you're on the air. As always, you're allowed to ask up to 2 questions. They can be personal about me and Ludus. They can be about 40k, Warglaive. They can be about anything fantasy or geeky stuff. The only rule I have is no politics. Or real world politics. So go ahead and shoot.
Okay. So before you go into another long topic, I wanted to ask you just one thing. What do you think about the old sci-fi universes like Dune or Foundation series of Asimov? How do they compare to the new stuff like Warhammer, Star Wars, Star Trek?
My knowledge of... Typically when I think of like classic sci-fi, I always think of like Star Trek, the original series. I think of some old, I almost said Dark Horse, old school comics of certain sci-fi ideas with like the idea of robots and stuff. Dune specifically is one I don't know much about. I do know that in my years of being a fan of sci-fi, it's often referred to as the father or mother or parent of modern sci-fi, or parent of what would become modern sci-fi. As for my direct knowledge of Dune as a universe, as it works, and everything that goes on in Dune, I am so unknowledgeable. I can't do direct comparisons between that. But if we're talking about just old school sci-fi versus where sci-fi is now, I'd say sci-fi back in the day was had a healthy degree of both like optimism and had a healthy degree of skepticism on like the good and bads of like the future. They also had a lot more creative ideas, and I think they thought a lot more out of the box. Whether you can say that's because the writers were on drugs or because they just generally had some really awesome ideas, versus modern sci-fi, which seems a lot more derivative. It seems like it's a lot of the science fiction is more aesthetic based, less sensible, less logistical, less... It feels like the writers of modern sci-fi aren't really trying to come up with new fun ideas for technology or alien species, or, you know, it really has devolved into more of just the aesthetic of like, ooh, fancy, you know, barely any screens, techie stuff. Ooh, terminology that sounds like some of the stuff we say now, but is a little bit more sci-fi-ified. It's modern sci-fi is basically what the old school sci-fi was, but watered down. It's just turned into a genre aesthetic as opposed to, again, the creative process of actually scientifically breaking down new cool ideas, which is fine. You know, I'm not saying that if you like the sci-fi aesthetic and you're not actually there because you want to absorb like all these crazy nerdy ideas, that's fine. But I'd say that a source of what made sci-fi so attractive, and so I want to say its own, what made it its own, was the fact that it had rules, it had laws, it had mechanics to it that fluff to it that always gave it that essence of what made it sci-fi. That idea that this stuff could happen. Yes, it's fiction, but it's based on some semblance of real science and real ideas and real natural laws. Whereas, again, modern sci-fi, not so much.
I would say there are a couple of exceptions out there for me. Now, when we go into old school, Dune, and again, actually agreeing exactly with Asmodean, old school Star Trek tend to be my favorites. But some of, like, when we're talking about my newer ones, even to an extent, like older 40K sci-fi, or at least like where the Imperium was before, again, my favorite part of 40K is 30K. So back before the Imperium was its incessant cesspool of bullshit and hatred. That, and also the one that I actually really like, and this might surprise a few people, as far as like sci-fi universes I think do it right, Fallout, I think, does it really right. Because what they do is they took one thing in history, and it was the
bombing of...
No. They it was the invention of one thing, and I can't think of what it was, and they took it out of history. That's why everything in Fallout is ran on like the vacuum tubes and shit. Oh fuck, I can't think of what it is. But they took one actual thing that happened in history, and
I love Merskin says Dune is only 25 years older.
Yeah, and Warhammer is
what, only 25 years
40,
older.
50 years old now. Yeah.
Way to make 25 years seem minor.
I'm older than Dune is older than Warhammer. But anyway, no, so they do that right, I believe, because they took
Dune is 25 years, being 25 years older than something
that's like 40 or 50 years old.
That's like the same as just the age difference. That could, if they were people, one could be the parent of the other.
Or in some cases in Virginia, grandparent. But let's not go into that. Transistor, thank you, Murderskin. I really wish that didn't happen. I really wish I was more of a joke, but nah. Yeah. So in Fallout, they took out the invention of the transistor, which is what makes everything in Fallout run on like the vacuum tubes and the old tech, where it's like stuck in the 40s and 50s era of America. But they do it to the point where you believe it could happen. And I think that's what makes real science fiction better, is if it's to an extent believable.
Yeah.
So
and that's essentially what I was saying, is it has to be more grounded. And sci-fi should not be like, Star Wars is like the exception, and that's because it's more honest with how it's more fantastical than it is science. But with general sci-fi, with actual sci-fi, the draw of it is that feeling that it has laws, it has rules, it has a integral set of unbreakable parameters, like the real world does. They're just, they're crazier, they're more out there than what we have, but at the end of the day, that's what makes it more enjoyable, is because fantasy, there's always the excuse of, oh, it's magic. Oh, it's just the fantasy magic. Oh, it's the magic stuff. Yeah. Sci-fi, the reason people love sci-fi is it doesn't use that bullshit excuse. Sci-fi has rules, and it says, okay, this is why this is possible within these rules. It creates a tangential line of thinking and explanation, and it gives writers within sci-fi also, once they create those rules, it gives them a creative outlet to try and figure out how certain things can work around or with those rules directly, sometimes bending them but never breaking them.
Until you get 40K, and then you get
40K again. 40K is sci-fi in some senses. It's science fantasy in a lot of others. So I'd say 40K is like 40K is like Star Wars combined with some traditional aspects of sci-fi with a grim dark coat of paint.
Mine was a half joke because I was like, you can tell they break their own rules because look at the mortifactors.
But does that answer your question, Tangular, or were you looking for a more specific?
Yeah, no, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's enough. And yeah, that was it. I'm just gonna leave you with a fun fact. You know that the Dune universe was the origin of the term God Emperor. So
Really? I didn't know
yeah, that's where it came from, I think.
that.
So
You think?
yeah, I believe that was the first like sci-fi universe to use it. So
Careful using the term "fun fact" with that if you're not sure.
I'm pretty sure, but I'm just trying to like, keep myself safe, like
Okay.
pleading the fifth and all. Okay then.
All right. Well, thank you
That's
for joining the call, and have a good day.
Yep. Have a good day.
Shanky, shanky. All right. And as always, guys, if anyone wants to jump in the call line, you're free to do so at any point. We'll pull you in, ask you two, and you're free to ask us 2 questions. All right.
And just down a rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole we go.
we are dangerously good at throwing ourselves down rabbit hole.
And that means there's plenty to talk about, though.
That's fair. But yeah, Murder's talking about without the transistor, there was no tech miniaturization. So that's why there weren't any advanced computers and stuff like that, where it's all running on vacuum tubes and shit like that.
Letty 2 was OG God Emperor. Letty 2. Yeah.
Leto.
Oh, Leto 2. I still don't know. Dune in general, I don't know much about. As for if that's a historical reference, I can't think of it off the top of my head, actually.
There were probably historical references to figures being called God Emperor.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee it. I don't know of any specifically, but it would not surprise me at all if there were people back in history called God Emperor.
There probably were. I know that Caesar wasn't called a god emperor, but he was called he was referred to as like godlike at times.
It comes from ancient Egypt, says Alex Grigorov.
Leto 2. Okay, so Leto 2 Atreides, fictional character, is from Dune. Okay, so that explains. Okay, his first appearance was Dune Messiah, last appearance The Winds of Dune, 2009. Family House of Atreides, title God Emperor. Yeah, that definitely predates, that does indeed predate 40k.
So yeah, it's looking like the origin might actually be Leto the Second.
You can talk about Dune for ages. I don't know a single thing about it. Well, I know some really small fun facts I've learned about it, but they're really out of context, and I'm not sure how they fit in. I know Dune's a bit crazy. Like, that's what a friend of mine who is a fan of Dune says. Like, he says it's kind of crazy. I'm like, do you know about 40k? I don't know.
So,
maybe one day I'll look into Dune more. I know there's a movie coming out about it sometime soon, apparently.
Yeah, they were not called God Emperor, God Kings, but the divine right of kings was the old justification for why they wielded the authority they did. Well, actually, no, there are some that had a they were worshipped as a god. An interesting example of this, and I didn't even know about this, is Emperor Jimmu, the first emperor of Japan. So, then in China, 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors, a group of mythological rulers or deities in ancient northern China, are said to be god emperors. Sapa Inca, the emperor of the Inca Empire, viewed as a god. So there are some historical equivalents of it, but yeah, that's about it. And then there's one more, and it's not really clarified here. An emperor worshipped as a deity by an imperial cult, and this is ancient Rome. Identified emperors with divinely sanctioned authority. So that seems more like the God King idea. Remember that 40K took more than a little inspiration from Dude. 40K took more than a little inspiration from a lot of different places.
Yeah, and a lot of times you can't even really use inspiration without the air quotes. Hey, we're inspired by this. Looks exactly like that thing with just a slightly small adjustments. It's like, right, inspired. We'll go with that. To be fair, StarCraft got away with being inspired by 40K.
From what I understand, there was a lot of back and forth on the ripoffs between Blizzard and Games Workshop, between StarCraft and 40K at the time.
If I recall correctly,
But
40K was already in second edition when that stuff started, so they already had a lot established.
So from what I understand, there was
Second and third edition.
the group that did StarCraft was originally done. They were supposed to come up with a 40K game, and Games Workshop didn't like what they had or something stupid.
To this day, I don't think it's known exactly the reasoning. They just at some point there was some kind of falling out. That's all we know. We don't know.
Yeah.
To this day, we still don't even know what the reason was. Like neither Blizzard nor Games Workshop have ever not even like retired members of either have come forward and said like this is what happened. It's just we know there was a falling out. That's it. And 40K went there. We don't even know who was the one who said fuck it, enough, we're not doing this. We don't even know who did that. We don't even know if it was amicable or not. We just know that they walked away.
From what I understand, though, is there were some new things in StarCraft that weren't introduced yet in 40K. And so they took some of those ideas, and this is where it gets weird, because they were originally under that umbrella. You know, they said, well, we're just going to keep it and use it. And the group that eventually did StarCraft said, no, we made it, we're going to use it. So in a way, that's where the idea of them ripping each other off back and forth comes from. So really, I don't know how to call that one. I mean, they're both bullshit companies.
And no matter what, I think hold on.
I was going to say...
No matter what, you cannot argue that they stole this from StarCraft. I don't care who the fuck you are. That's not an argument. That
because I'm in the Discord call, I didn't see what you were doing. And all I hear is you taking the headphones off. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And then it catches up. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what he's doing.
Not even an argument, my friend. Not even an argument. They straight up stole that. But to be fair, StarCraft was inspired by 40K. So, would you call it stealing, or would you call it derivative?
I'd actually call it stealing, because at this point, StarCraft has become its own thing, and that was a new design.
Mm-hmm.
Although wait a minute. They did it upside down again. Turn that bitch upside down again. Well, no, where the bottom is facing the camera. Yeah, I didn't know that thing was completely hollow.
Oh yeah, you just plop it out on the table. Thing is, it is a unit piece. This is not a terrain piece. It's an actual unit piece.
Oh no, I get that, but it was supposed to be a bunker, so I figured there would be like a couple of like finer detail shit inside of it. No, it's just hollow. How much was that again?
This bad boy. Crap, where's the box? I think it's $90. Hold on.
You're shitting me.
Well, I might be. I'm double checking.
Because I was thinking, like, I wouldn't even pay $60 for the motherfucker.
I got it cheaper because my local hobby store has discounts, but generally it is
Murderous Kitten said repossession. Again, you can't really argue that for this because this was a new design for StarCraft 2. So now that they've branched off, become their own thing, and this was actually a new design for a later game, you can't really call it repossession.
$60.
60? Okay. I mean, I still wouldn't pay 60 for it, but still, it's fucking hollow. You got it cheaper, so it's even worse.
Yeah, I got it cheaper at my local hobby store. I think I got it because I know I got it less than its market price. So if it costs 60 native price, I probably got it for 40.
Ben, here's an interesting conversation that we've kind of had before, but I don't agree with. I think it is derivative. There's enough difference between the Imperium, the Dominion, Nids, Zerg, Eldar, and Protoss that you would not confuse one with the other. You might not necessarily confuse one with the other.
Let me ask you this. If you were to show images of, like, artwork, of drawn sketches of some of the units or just some of the specific things from the Terrans in StarCraft, and then show like the miniatures of 40k and say, hey, are these miniatures of this universe? I'm pretty sure the person who's not familiar or hasn't played StarCraft or it doesn't know StarCraft and hasn't played 40k and doesn't know 40k, I think the general person would be like, yeah, they look the same. Like if you were to put a Hammerfall bunker and then show someone an artwork of the Terran bunkers, the slight differences the general person is not going to notice. They're going to be like, oh yeah, those are the same.
Well, so I'll say this. I'll say the ones out of those 6 that you should be able to tell apart would be the Eldar and Protoss, but Tyranid, Zerg, no one's going to have a fucking clue. Imperium and Dominion, and no one's going to have a fucking clue.
Especially if you use the same colors.
Pretty much. But Eldar and Protoss, there is actually a very distinct difference between them. If you actually take the time to look at them. Now, maybe that's just me who's been part of both sets of lore for...
And given my dislike of space elves, I gotta say I like the Protoss better, just aesthetically.
Well, it's not even that. It's just that...
Same spiritual thing there, like, but... At least the aesthetic of the Protoss is like they're super alien. Whereas
yeah, exactly. So that's where the difference between the Eldar and Protoss is. Their lore is what's kind of cloned from each other, but their aesthetics are different. If that makes sense.
Alex says, is that bulky over armored soldier A or gargantuan thick soldier B? Yeah, like I said, like people who aren't familiar with the universes, like, if you're familiar with the universes, yeah, you can easily distinctually tell them apart. But if you're not familiar with 40k or StarCraft and you're shown like side by sides, you're not going to see much of a gap, especially between the Terrans.
I want to see something because I want to make sure I'm right, if I remember this right. Some units to people that do not know anything about the saying, sure, but I feel that is a bar way too low. Someone that doesn't know anything might confuse Star Wars with Star Trek. You would have to find who doesn't know.
No, I don't. I think that's a false equivalency. Because with Star Trek, you show any ship in Star Trek and any ship in Star Wars, there's no carryover. You show units on a combat field, Starfleet officers, even in their most geared out form, versus clone troopers versus stormtroopers, no carryover. Like that's a false equivalency.
So
I'll just leave it at that. Right. That's a false equivalency. I get where you're coming from, but that's a false equivalency.
I was right in my suspicion. I was just want to make sure to confirm this before I opened my fat mouth and wrote a check that I couldn't cash. A big difference for me that makes the StarCraft Marine noticeably different from the 40k Astartes is their heads are in their fucking shoulders.
Wait, what?
Okay, so if you look at my background, you can see kind of like how the heads are above the shoulders and they look, relatively fucking human-like. Well, with the StarCraft Marines, it's kind of like almost at the same level. So it's it looks kind of like they got their heads rank or some shit, or like pushed down.
Nah, it's just the overarching bulk of what's up top.
I know, but it's still well. No, I'm saying that's like a noticeable difference in their armor, though. Where with the Astartes, like I said, you can see on like my background where the head is like its own, it's separate from the shoulders. Where the shoulders just kind of go into like about right here on the helmet.
I will say that is so with the shoulders meaning the just design wise, what do you prefer? The Astartes design or that? I'm curious.
Astartes.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, just
It looks smoother, it looks a lot cleaner.
Yeah, like that. I to me when I look at like the Terran troopers, the Marines, I don't know. I like the dome feel because it kind of reminds me of modern spacesuits with how we have like that dome over our our astronauts' heads. Kind of reminds me of that, and I like that carryover. But compared to the gothic like metallic knightly armor that Space Marines have, that looks so much cooler and so much far removed from like anything like we have now, like astronauts, that it feels 40,000 years in the future, while at the same time almost 10,000 years in our past.
Oh, good. Another hot take by Maruskin. Star Trek is so lame, nobody's mistaking it for anything.
And Murray's Kitten can be wrong. In fact, he is.
Yeah.
He is quite a bit, so... you just gotta feel bad. You just gotta feel bad for someone being so wrong so often. That's all you can do. You just feel sympathy.
Look, I've had some bad takes, but at least I've never said Star Trek is lame. I'll say there are some parts of it that are really boring, but overall, I wouldn't say Star Trek is lame. Also, let's not forget StarCraft Marine armor is designed to take a nuke to the face. Bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. I will call you out on that every day of the week. I had to look that up. No, they're not designed to take nukes to the face.
Well, whoever my popcorn, this is about to go off.
No, it's just not fucking true. That's all there is to say about it. If they were designed to take nukes to the face, then Hydralisk spines would bounce off them like they're fucking nothing. Oh, I said it completely idiotic. That doesn't translate to text. And the reason is because people like to argue that shit with me, like how bolt rounds wouldn't affect StarCraft Marine armor because it's so good, or how the
Hydralisks shoot those little prongs and they go right through that shit. So
yeah, and then how the what is C-14 Gauss rifle would decimate Space Marine power armor. Some Space Marine power armor have been known, and this is, I think, mostly just for fluff or for story reasons, to shrug off bolt rounds. But also, it also depends on where they hit, too, because if it hits the shoulder, it can be a glancing shot. So, that's kind of what the big-ass shoulders are there for. It's like... But they can use... But they could use depleted uranium shells. This was an actual argument, by the way. The StarCraft Marines can use depleted uranium shells in their Gauss rifles and cause Astartes... Remember this, Espegon. Cause Astartes to get radiation sickness. You look confused.
I am a little bit.
That was an actual argument.
Okay.
I love how you're just like, wait, no, what, no, what, no. Okay, I'm not talking about Deep Space Nine. That must be said, but that's part of Star Trek. You literally said Star Trek is so lame.
Mm-hmm.
So Deep Space Nine must be lame. But no, so yeah, that was an actual argument I read, and I was just like, but no, that's not how a Stardust work. There are literal motherfuckers who are completely jet black with red eyes because of being overexposed to radiation. And they're known to be some of the tougher sons of bitches around. Vulcan's boys are good boys and strong boys. Every day is workout day with Vulcan's boys.
I don't know. People have some crazy defenses for why StarCraft universe would be stronger than 40k. Like, I get it. When you're a fan of one and not the other, you will do anything to try and justify like one being better than the other.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, 40k is just so. I trust me. When it comes to the argument between Zerg v Tyranids, I'm all for the Zerg winning because that is a pretty sound reason why the Zerg would win. Their evolutionary rate is just way too fast, and they don't require any specific unit to do it.
Well,
any single Zerg can pick up biomass, and the entirety of the swarm will quickly evolve. It's not like they need to collect the biomass and then bring it back and then have it processed for a while, and then eventually there's an evolution. It's pretty much instantaneous.
And this is the distinction that needs to be made with Zerg v Tyranid. Their short-term and long-term fighting have two different outcomes. Short-term, pound for pound, Tyranids would win. If it is like small forces, Tyranids win, because pound for pound, they are stronger. If it's any kind of long-term fighting, Zerg wins because of the evolutionary rate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's 1v1, Tyranid will win, normally. I think there was like maybe one or two cases where I was like, that, you know, the Zerg actually has the advantage in 1v1. But overall, 1v1, Tyranid would win. Even to an extent, 5v5. But once you start getting into like a long, drawn-out war, Zerg wins because of the evolutionary rate.
They adapt and mutate too quickly.
And not just that, like you said, it's the entire swarm too. So you could have Zerg on planet A in Sector 1, and then the Zerg in Sector 57 on planet B will get the same evolutions. Almost instantaneously. Because that's how Zerg work. Now, something that did surprise me is the Tau versus Protoss one that I was requested to do. Because I thought that would be a ruffle stomp, and I was very much so wrong. My preconception of how that fight would go was actually completely wrong.
It's always bad to be wrong.
Oh no, because I thought the Protoss would absolutely stomp the Tau. Then I started looking into the Tau.
Yeah, some of the Tau stuff's a little OP. So did Carter's asking me, so did you check out Black Mesa? No, I got wrapped up in finishing the Rathan model, which I did, thankfully. I finished the base model. I had to wrapped up with that, and that took me late into the night, so I didn't actually get to. I intend to do that after today's stream with Ludus. After the podcast, probably gonna get some lunch, eat something, chill out for a little bit, because I really need to take a break. Like, full disclosure to everybody, though I intended to not push myself too hard, I've been working on Warglaive
a lot,
almost 24 hours straight a couple times. Yeah, my bad habits. I still haven't shaken them, but yeah, I'll after this I'm gonna get some lunch, gonna rest up, just watch something. I guess maybe I don't know, start watching DS9 again. I don't know.
So I got two comments. Fincarn said that is not true. Zerg don't evolve like that. If they did, then the Zerg would not need the Primals to join them in Heart of the Swarm. That is true, because if you remember their evolution missions, that's exactly how they work. And then Karneth Korn said Tau mostly lose because they are lame, and Protoss win because they are ancient Egyptian Chat aliens. No. I really wish that was the case. I really wish that was the argument I could have had, but no. Because again, it's faction versus faction, and I had a counter for every argument the Protoss could put up.
Hey, Gavin. Welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Hello, Gavin.
Just a reminder to everybody, another time, I know I'm a broken record at this point, but if anyone wants to hop on the call line and ask us friendly assholes 2 questions related to
Anything, just not real world politics.
pretty much, feel free to jump in the call line. VC will pull you in. You can ask it the 2 questions about anything you want, except as long as it's not real world politics.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's relatively fair.
But no, so Asmongodd, you played Heart of the Swarm on your
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah.
How did the evolution missions work, per chance?
You found a unique species. Abathur found a unique species on a planet.
Yeah.
You would go, you'd kill them, and as soon as you would kill them and collect maybe like 3 or 4 samples max of biomass, you would then immediately turn into an egg and evolve into the new. It took maybe less than 30 seconds for like Zerglings to adapt into the 2 different variants, and then the swarm chose one of the 2 more useful variants to adapt to the swarm.
And that would be the entire swarm.
Correct.
Yeah.
You
So,
would only
yeah.
send like 4 or 5 Zerg total, and the entirety of that type in the swarm would evolve.
Okay, so one thing is how would Kerrigan and the whole Overmind idea deal with the Shadow and the Warp? So that's something that I kind of had to work around, because the Shadow of the Warp it blacks out the warp. It doesn't necessarily affect all psychic communications. It just essentially deafens the warp completely. So for that, my justification is it wouldn't work on biologically psychic beings from other universes because they don't use the warp. And no, Kerrigan does not use the warp.
No. She uses psychic abilities.
Yeah, and again, this goes more towards that's biological as opposed to pulling on the powers of the warp.
Yeah. What if the Zerg were in 40k? I would make the argument that they would have a presence in the warp. It would be mostly Kerrigan though, or pre-Kerrigan it would have been the hive mind.
The Overmind.
The Overmind, yeah, that would have been the overarching presence of the Zerg in the warp. And would it be equal to that of the Tyranid presence? No,
I don't think so.
No.
I really don't think so.
Because the thing is, that's our only definitive measurement of how massive the one organism that is the entirety of the Tyranid swarm, how big they are, is their presence in the warp is so significant that Chaos Gods are fucked by it. So that's our biggest indication of how truly massive the Tyranid swarm is. That and a lot of people theorize that the hive fleets that have been coming into our space from all corners, which indicates the entirety of our galaxy is surrounded by Tyranids, which is terrifying. The idea that each hive fleet has actually been nothing more than a small probe from the Tyranids, whatever his overarching mind is. That's a terrifying thought.
Oh, actually, to get off of terrifying thoughts for a minute, because I just remembered this. Would you like to laugh at my expense?
Not if this is serious. If it was serious.
No, it's not serious, but it is kind of funny.
Okay.
So, as I have told you, I just beat Mass Effect 3 for my channel. I am not going to make this up, and I'm not going to lie. So, I'm not going to tell you which ending I chose, but I didn't have enough, I didn't have enough of the final score for Shepard to live through any of them. Okay? Even the destruction when Shepard didn't live. So, as he's dying, he does flashbacks of all the other characters that died, and I started crying like a little bitch. Again! Because of course I did.
You're an
By the way,
emotional little boy.
No, that game just sets me off hard. So for anyone who doesn't know my connection to Mass Effect, and why I don't care how much people say Mass Effect 3 is a trashy game because of the ending. Also, I learned an interesting fact about Mass Effect 3 that I'll bring up here in a second. I have put literally thousands of hours into all 3 of the original games. Not thousands of hours total, thousands of hours individually. And also for everyone who says the Mass Effect 3 ending is the worst thing BioWare's ever done because they didn't fix it. I actually saw another YouTube channel make an argument that the ending was kind of pseudo fixed because after that was done, they came out with the last DLC for Mass Effect 3, which was the Citadel DLC, which was probably no, I'll fucking say this. In my opinion, is the best DLC out of the entire trilogy. So, I think that was kind of their way of saying, hey, we really fucked up. After they did the extended cut, which was one of the first things they worked on, after they did all that, they created this DLC that was nothing but fan service to say, hey, we fucked up. So here's what we were going to do to try and make it better. And, well, BioWare made Andromeda. No, that's EA's fucking fault. Because EA sucks ass, and they have to kill everything that I like. Okay. Merskin said, okay, Ludus's taste is even worse for DLC than in games. Okay, other than Citadel, what would be the best DLC in the trilogy?
Why you asked that? I also want to address two things. Carquest says some also say the Tyranids might be running away for something. I don't know. I kind of like the idea that the Tyranids are that much bigger, and we've only seen like a small semblance of them. I like them being like the thing. Not to say like the thing is, I don't trust Modern Games Workshop to come up with that thing that the Tyranids are running from. Like, do you guys trust Modern GW to write another new faction that's that intimidating? Nah, I don't see them being able to do it. I like the Tyranids being like the end all of that. I like that idea a lot more. But you know, I'll actually ask this after Ludus gets his answer. And the other thing, Merskin Azagon, that terrifying thought has one flaw. So
much bias is needed to force something that large.
I think he's actually asking how much bio. Well, the thing is, they can't tell because it's ho, which could either be how, so, or too much biomass is needed to make something that. Actually, I think that's not a flaw. I think that enhances the terrifying thought. Like, think about it. They've consumed so much and absorbed so much biomass from wherever the fuck they're coming from that they're that massive. That enhances the terrifying thought. It's not a flaw with it. It increases the fear of it. It increases it. How much?
How.
Quite a lot. And that's the thing. Yeah. That's why I'm saying it's not a flaw. It just enhances the frightening aspect of it. They took in so much of it that these hive fleets are just small inklings of their overarching size. That is what I think is so cool and terrifying with the Tyranids. And what makes them a cool faction to me.
I'm about ready to trigger Kitten.
Well, it's not hard to do
that. So first off, Kitten, understand. With Mass Effect 2, I love all the DLC more than the main game because I think Mass Effect 2 is the weakest in the original trilogy. Overlord is not the best DLC in Mass Effect 2, much less the entire trilogy. The best one for Mass Effect 2 has to go to Lair of the Shadow Broker. Overlord was a good DLC.
Is it bad I rarely remember the names of the DLC for like I remember all the Skyrim DLC's names, but that's about it.
I had to remember Lair of the Shadow Broker, I'm not gonna lie.
I genuinely don't remember the names of DLC that well for games. Even if they enhance the game a shit ton, I usually just remember the game's name and I'm like that DLC that added this stuff. Like I almost never remember the names of DLCs. The only reason I remember for Skyrim is the DLC there is just so like there's so much chunk that they add to the game.
Yeah.
Like that's why I remember those half the time. Like Dawnbreaker and stuff like that. Like they had entirely different like storylines you can go down. And armor sets and all this other stuff, so.
Yeah, and again, and this is the one that a lot of people hate, is I think 2... A lot of people say 2 was the best in the original trilogy. I think it was actually the weakest. I didn't think it had the storyline to compete with 3 or 1. And that was what kind of... With 3 or 1, I felt like I was actually, having fun in the story. I was playing the character. I was making the story unfold. In 2, I literally felt like I was just playing a game. And that was it. it was such a different feeling between 1 and 3 and 2 that it's just nah. Yeah. Oh no. The thing about Lair of the Shadow Broker is it actually deals with, even if you don't romance Liara Kitten, that it shows her going from, it gives her a lot of character development. And Liara isn't even one of my favorite characters, but it gives her some much needed character development between 1 and 3. Because you don't really see her go full on batshit insane. And then you get to 3 and it's like, I am the most heinous bitch in the galaxy. It's like, oh, that happened. And with Overlord, you really don't get any character development for anyone. You do get a cool story, I'll give you that, but you don't really get any character development.
Alright. So one thing I want to pose to the chat real quick, in relation to the other thing I was talking about with the Tyranids, and I'm curious to get people's perspective on this. Like, type 1 in the chat if you like the idea of the Tyranids just being this gigantic, massive biomass force, this huge swarm, and then we're only getting small touches of it with the hive fleets. You know, type 1 if that's like more appealing to you, or type 2 if you like the idea more that they're running from something else. Curious to see what the general consensus is on that.
I don't know, I lean more towards that you're just getting a small taste of them.
Yeah. So we're either getting people saying both or 2. Really? Really? Archon Rising? Oh, somebody else agrees, really.
So they're massive, but they're running away from something. I mean, could be, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't like that idea. Like, don't get me wrong, it sounds imposing and terrifying, but what could possibly genuinely be a good thing that they're running from that you think that GW could write?
What could be a good thing, or what could GW write well? Because that's two different answers.
Well, unfortunately, they're a question that's inevitably intrinsically linked because it's GW who would be writing it.
Oh, I know.
Now, if I was writing it, I'd have a few ideas, but they'd be a little out there.
I just like the idea of something being scary for the Tyranids. Said Dragonus Wolflord. Calcul robots that are even worse than the Nids. That could be a thing. No. I can't see that.
Because all I would think is Borg ripoff.
Yeah.
Or Replicator ripoff or anything like that. Like, I'd be like, meh.
Here's something that I thought of. Alex Grigorov said their own over-evolved splinters. So, like, Tyranids that have evolved past Tyranids.
That's also kind of lame, though, because it's still Tyranids. It's like, they're running from other Tyranids.
They're running from scarier Tyranids. Think about making the Tyranids actually scarier.
They couldn't do it.
No, I'm not saying they could, but I'm saying, like, if it were pulled off well, that'd be a great idea. But no, I agree with you. They couldn't do it. They can barely wipe their ass most days.
I don't know. I guess this is just one of those things where I have a differing opinion from I'm assuming the majority, but I don't like the idea that they're running from something. I like the idea that they are the thing. Maybe
a huge AI mind with billions of drones, the enemy of the Nids, some sort of energy being, something that they can't consume or counter. Similar to the Catan.
Again, Dragonus, when you say stuff like that, all I think is Borg, and I'm kind of meh.
the
it's
man
like, the Tyranids are running from the Borg.
No.
Gotcha.
Tyranid weeb faction is invading 40k Galaxy because Chad Tyranids are making fun of them. You're just mad because your bad take was worse than mine.
What's that in reference to?
Kitten. Because he said Star Trek is lame. Alex Grigorov, in 40k, I would actually agree with you, Asmo. There's no need for further scary. It's not necessarily true.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind, though, is what if they were running for something? That something would have to be more terrifying than the Tyranids, who already have a presence in the warp that fucks with the Chaos Gods, they are supposed to be the ultimate evil, and the Tyranids already one up them. What the fuck are they gonna do that's gonna one up that?
Arneth Korn said it's Kitten's bad opinions driving the Nids away.
Yeah, I can't think at all of what would work. Like, even the energy being idea. Like, I get where you guys are coming from, but how would those be more imposing or terrifying? And I also think that that's been done a good chunk of times. Not well, granted. Like, I'd be interested to see that idea finally done, like, really well. But the energy being idea, I don't know. I don't see that. For the Tyranids, I see that being imposing, but for the Imperium, for the Orcs, for any of the existing factions in 40k, like, I don't know, something like that would just be like meh to me.
Dragona said, I really never think of the Borg. They're just not scary and they're only converted life forms. I'm going for full mech, nothing biologic like the Man of Iron.
Still, Borg minus biology.
Pretty much.
Or Ian Watson wanting to fuck them. I don't get that, but okay. Ian Watson? Aren't the Catan already basically energy beings? Yeah, and the Necrons turn them into puppets.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, kind of already doing that there. Honestly, like I said, like I don't trust GW to be creative enough to come up with something genuinely intimidating enough to to one up the Tyranids. Not well. And though I get that you guys are trying to come up with creative ideas, none of it really hits hard. Like, I'm not picturing, even with your ideas being pressed forward, anything that would actually feel like a one-up. So for me, like, I prefer the Tyranids be the ultimate threat, and that whatever we haven't seen is just more Tyranids. I'm not saying they can't add another new race that's also from the same area, but I can't think how GW would write anything more intimidating. And even if it wasn't GW writing it, like, I can't think of anything that anyone could do that would work, that either hasn't already been done in 40k, or B, would actually feel more imposing than the Tyranids. You don't need to one-up the Nids. There is such a thing as bad guy inflation. Yeah, but the thing is, with another new bad guy, they'd still need to be imposing enough to explain why the Nids are afraid of them, and to give us, the current fans of 40k and all the universe and all the factions within it, reason to see them as another contender. And I don't see GW being able to write that, even remotely, and I don't even see people on the outside being able to write that effectively.
No.
I just think that idea will fall flat no matter what you throw at it. Like, if they always leave it a mystery and they hint that they are being chased out by something, but they never reveal it, it could be a cool thing for fans to speculate about. But if GW were ever planning on revealing such a threat, they'd really have to come in swinging with something good, and I just don't see them doing that. Not that they're going to. I mean, like, this is GW. They're obsessed with Space Marines, and if they're not updating that line, they're not doing much. Hell, they're not even doing their own animations. They're just sniping a bunch of fan animators off of YouTube and forcing them to work for them for their own Disney Plus scandal. Which that's gonna go well. I wonder how bad that's gonna flop. Here's a question: why Imperium is not tossing the Suns on Tyranid high fleets? What?
I mean, yeah, I just, I'm sorry, Asmagon, I gotta do it again.
Do what?
And Arch just put out war video.
Here we go. He pulled out his diary.
No, this is actually the most recent one. The Firehawks, I believe, threw a part of a sun at the secessionists. They threw a piece. They threw a piece of a goddamn sun.
Now the question is, how effective would that be on a high fleet? I'm assuming very, but at the same time,
I would fucking think so too, because it's a star. They are relatively hot. So
That does beg a lot of questions. Could that regularly be done? That would be an effective way to nuke entire hive fleets coming into the galaxy, but you'd also have to... What's the proximity they would need to be close to the star for that to happen?
So they did it with a space fortress, and when they cut the turn, so the sun hit what they were supposed to hit and not, themselves, they fucked up the space fortress.
Oh, okay, so they can't do it again.
Oh no, they can, but they're going to have to repair the space fortress first.
Yeah, but how long is that going to take? I'm assuming a long time. This is 40k. Everything takes longer than it should.
I mean, considering the size of this, think about a small version of the Phalanx.
100 years or so. They lowered this. They towed the sun from one system to. How do you do that? How do you? Sorry, I got a weird image
They
of like.
towed it through the warp, yes.
I just got this weird image of like a redneck in his pickup truck, right?
Yeah, very-
Just driving by the sun, stopping Looney Tune style, getting out. That's perfect. Just grabbing that little hook, walking over to the sun. There's this little like metal like loop connected to the sun. Just quing. Alright, pull her. The sun just jumps in, drives away through the warp. Ah, that's hilarious.
By the way, I also apologize because I know I look distracted, but I just remembered that I had to do something, and I should have done it earlier, but I'm kind of special. So for those of you who don't know, I live in the state of Virginia, and living here kind of sucks sometimes.
No. At this point, if you live in somewhere that sucks sometimes, like Maine does sometimes, or with our government, you just gotta say, at least I don't live in Portland. At least I don't live in San Francisco. At least I don't live in Seattle. Like, just say, at least I don't live in the shittiest parts of the country.
No, so, my personal property taxes were behind. So I've been driving around with bad stickers on my car. And so I had to pay off all of my personal property taxes just so I can pay more money to the DMV because
you guys still call them DMVs? Because we call them BMVs here. Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
No, Department of Motor.
It's no longer department around here. They changed it to Bureau of Motor Vehicles. I don't know why. Clearly, that was a big issue because it was made as a big deal. It's like, oh, it's no longer Department of Motor Vehicles. It's now Bureau of Motor Vehicles. And all of us were like, how much time and taxpayer dollars did you pay to waste someone's time coming up with that name change versus actually doing anything productive?
But yeah, so essentially, I had to pay money in personal property taxes to pay more money to get my registration caught back up so I don't get pulled over for another fucking ticket.
I would not recommend it. I mean,
I've gotten 2 tickets in the past month.
Jesus.
Well, to be fair, one of them was my fault.
Speeding?
Yeah. Only by a little bit. Let's not talk about my lead foot on stream, please.
I drive under the speed limit.
I was doing like 15 over. No, I'm sorry. I was doing 18 over.
Thing is, my sister, I still haven't got my license. I've during this whole COVID crisis, just trying to go take my test, like the amount of hoops they make you go through to meet your tester and get all that stuff done, and they have to ask, oh, did you sanitize your car? Did you make sure? It's like, can I even take my test with you, or are you just gonna family just because I didn't wipe every surface down with bleach? Right, seriously, so I haven't been able to take it in over a year and a half. I still drive on the road to go to the grocery store when we are low on food and nobody else can go. I've never gotten a ticket. I've never been pulled over. As long as I keep the registration and inspection up, I drive better than half the people on the road. So,
That's not saying much though.
and I guess it's not, but I've never ran a red light. I've never gone over the speed limit more than 3 miles, 4 miles over.
Yeah, I'm not even going to answer those questions.
I use my blinker every single time. Like, if I ever get stopped, it's going to be because of lights out, not because I did anything.
Let's not make me incriminate myself.
Nah, Dragonis, you are wrong. They're only easy if you live in the bigger cities where the standards are lower. So, the standards are quote unquote the same across the board. It's bullshit. Cities are incredibly easy because as long as you don't crash, you pretty much succeed the test. And where I live, in the country bumpkin side of stuff, the testers around here, they're a lot pickier because they have a lot less people. There's a lot less people coming in for tests. So each tester in the entire year will probably have 3, maybe 4 people coming in for tests each. With so few people taking tests, their standards are through the roof. I have been failed throughout my entire test. The guy told me you drove perfectly, except in the residential area you went 2 miles over the speed limit. I went 27 and a 25. He failed me for that. I paralleled parked perfectly. I was going the speed limit and under every other road. I nailed the 500 foot backup. I stayed on the interstate and had no issues keeping pace with the road and the flow of traffic. I used my blinker every single time. I never ran a red light. I never even took a wrong turn. I did everything else correctly. I went 2 miles over briefly while we were in the residential area. He failed me for that. To give you an idea how high the standards are if you live in a less populated... The testers in the cities, they got like 20 people a week each. So their standards are, did you crash? No? Alright, you pass. So I gotta wait. Essentially, I just gotta either nail it perfectly with absolutely no mistakes here, or once I move to the city with my roommate, which is happening in the next couple months. Was supposed to happen this month, but she got held up in California. So while she's stuck there, I can try and take, now that masks are becoming alleviated more, I could probably go for a test, I don't know, next week. But at this point, I'm kind of the mindset, like, I'll just wait until I move to the city, where the standards are fucking underneath the dirt.
Can you hold the wheel and press on the pedals? Yes, here's your license. By the way, Jackson made the joke. Speed limit is 60. Speed limit is 30. Ludus goes 60. The worst speeding ticket I ever got was a 58 and a 35. So 23 over. Which, by the way, is not a speeding ticket. That is a reckless driving misdemeanor. But I got reduced to a speeding ticket. Yeah. I got reduced to 19 over, so it was just a really high speeding ticket.
You know what I find incredibly funny, though, with that dichotomy of, like, the testing in cities being easier to get your license? The flip side of that is, for some reason, the cops are more aggressive. It's like, in a city, if you go, like, 26, 27, and a 25, they're like, hey, you need to slow it down. And they'll give you, like, a warning. But the thing is, out here in the backwoods, you got the good old boys in their trucks driving like 70, 75 in a 45. Local sheriff is just like, they'll crash. Oh, God.
I found one for Tennessee, but I'm looking for one in Virginia. The one in Tennessee is good because it's the cop car hiding in bushes. No, like to where a lot of our exit ramps come off of hills. The joke is that there's a cop car sitting on the hill, like almost at a perfect 90-degree angle facing down, like defying physics and shit. That's not a meme. Our cops actually do that shit. They sit like at weird ass angles behind all these turns and behind all these hills. And yeah.
You ever wonder why they do that? Like, I know the excuse is, oh, well, if you know they're there, you're going to slow down. Well, yeah, but isn't that kind of the goal? Is to get people to slow down?
Oh, wait. Here is one. I didn't see this one, but this is actually pretty fucking good. I didn't notice this one said Virginia, but this is actually kind of accurate. Oh, Ludus is a happy boy.
There's places in Germany you can drive at 100 miles an hour?
Yes, it's called the Autobahn. It has a speed limit. It's just astronomically high. I see you a DM.
The highest we can go around these parts is 70.
Same.
That's the highest you can go. Like, and that's on the long interstate. Like, other than that, you cannot go any faster than that. Is the max speed anywhere in this anywhere that I know of you can go. There are, as far as I know, there's nowhere in America except racetracks you can go at 100 or more. Let alone 80.
I think a couple places.
When you go survey, yeah, it does feel like that.
No, we have. You're talking about that picture I just sent you?
Yeah.
No, those sign that says speed limit enforced by aircraft. That is an actual thing that we have down here. And what that is?
Choppers? If you're going
no. So I didn't know what this is when I was younger. That was the image that went through my head. But what it is they have high flying aircraft in Virginia. That if they catch you speeding on their radar from the sky, they can mail you tickets. I have not heard of that happening to anyone that I know of, but I have heard of it happening.
That is hilarious, yet depressing.
You could put that picture up for the chat. I'm sure they would appreciate that. Oh wait, here's the picture, but it says Florida police. But this is actually exactly the kind of shit that happens here. I love it because it's accurate, but it's like this is shit that you would see like real live orcs would do. Let me pull up Discord again. It says Florida, but I've seen this used for Virginia too. It's not fucking wrong.
Absolutely nobody. Florida police.
We have police that sound like that. We do. I have seen them. I have physically seen this. They set up on those hills like that for people that do speed. Like underneath those.
To be fair, our sheriffs and cops do the woods thing as well. Like they just like have that like almost like creepy like we're watching you, boy, right from the tree line. Like
okay, to be fair, the bottom one I've only seen like once or twice. The top one I see almost every day.
That's funny though.
And it's meant for people like me that do speed like a bat out of hell. I will say this, the fastest I have ever gone was about...
And now I immediately, by the way, Dragonis, now I immediately don't believe you when you say German driver's ed is strict. Because if you can go in places where you can go a max of 100 or 200 miles a fucking hour... I fucking don't believe you that you fail those tests.
It's 200
because you don't have to worry about a goddamn lead foot. You got to worry about not having a lead foot.
Here, Helmet. I'll show you. No, they are actually very strict about that. That I do know.
How can you be?
Helmet, hold on. there is a picture I want to show you that I have seen.
Fucking race car speeds.
You want me to tell you why they're strict about it? I will show you why they are strict about it. Because when shit goes sideways... Oh, man, did I press the wrong button? There we go. I pressed the right button that time. Not pissed. When you don't drive like you're supposed to in that area, because if I'm not mistaken, he's talking specifically about the Autobahn. This is what happens.
You're not supposed to eat and drink behind the wheel.
No, this right here.
I'm responding to what Merce Kitten said. You can't even eat and drink behind the wheel in Germany. We're not supposed to. Like,
No,
you can pick up drive-through, but you're supposed to stop somewhere and eat. Like in a drive, like that's what my family does. Who the hell's driving and like No, if you get takeout, you stop in the parking lot, you eat it real quick, you put it once you're full, you put it away and then drive.
I do that.
Ludus, you're bad.
Mm.
See, this is what I'm saying. I'm a better driver than the rest of you. And I fail.
Also, I've been driving almost as long as you've been alive, so I don't want to fucking hear it.
And that should depress you, because I could drive better than you.
I didn't say you could drive better than me.
You admitted to getting 2 tickets in the last week.
No, actually, it's in the past 2 months.
All right, you still got.
And before that, I haven't gotten a wreck in like the past 4 or 5 years.
Okay. Why did you get? What's with the lead foot lately?
The first ticket was I was in a rush to get back home because I had to work that night and pick up Taylor from work when she still worked about 30 minutes in the opposite direction. So I was in a rush. And then the second ticket was for my tags, which I'm in the process of trying to fix, but because I have just paid my personal property taxes, they're like, you still haven't paid them. Like, yes, I just motherfucking did. By the way, the bottom one is a minor wreck on the Autobahn.
That's a nice car, too.
That is a minor wreck. Look where the fucking guard is. That's a minor wreck. That's called someone died, probably.
That's a nice car, too. Like, that's a sports car.
So, for those of you who don't who don't see this picture, and we aren't going to show this picture on stream for reasons.
No, I think YouTube would be mad about that. This is some pretty severe accidents.
Yeah, the bottom one is an Audi going underneath a guardrail, and the guardrail is sitting on top of where the driver would be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a minor wreck on the Autobahn.
I think I know why America doesn't have an Autobahn then. As it is, we already have so many accidents in like 45-mile-an-hour areas.
Car crashes on Autobahn. I got to read this entire thing. Car crashes on Autobahn, gets launched into a tree roof first.
Well, damn.
This is why we don't have an Autobahn in America. We can't have nice things because we're irresponsible. Is the DMV still wanting to be an asshole?
Well, all that funness out of the way. Non-car related questions. Let's move topics. We are a geek podcast. We aren't an automotive podcast. Unless you want to start that up. It's like, hey, automotives with Asmagon and Ludus. I'd only have a lot to say about ATVs. As I have a lot of experience driving ATVs. Four-wheelers, dirt bikes, buggies. Oh, buggies are the best. Have you ever flipped a buggy 4 times and still landed back on your wheels?
No, because I haven't ridden one.
Oh, it's so much fun. We were on a hunting trail, and we were scoping out for coyotes, and I was driving, and I'd done 2 rolls before. And I do want to hazard this to anybody watching. Don't try this. I was an idiot and a teenager, and it could have gotten me and my friend killed. So I would probably never do this again. But being an idiot teenager, I was like, hey, want to try and roll this thing and land back on the wheels? Because with a buggy, they're so light. If you have a friend with you, you can easily flip them back over. Hell, by yourself, you could probably flip a buggy back over. So he was like, fuck it. So he put on his buckle. I put on my buckle, booked it, saw the hill, slammed on the brakes at just the right spot so we would bump up on the back. And we rolled, and we rolled 2 more times than I was hoping we would. So I freaked out at that point. I was like, oh shit. Then we still landed back on our wheels. And I was like,
Cal killed
worth it.
Um,
Oh god, that was fun.
Jackson said, "Is the cactus Rogaldorn's favorite plant?" Well, yes, because anything can be a dildo if you're brave enough. I like how Asmogon is not. I will never do this again. He's like, I will probably never do this again.
And I don't rule it out. I know myself. Like, I could say anytime, like, oh, I will never do this again. But in the moment, you're like, well, I think I'm wiser about this now. Then you do it, and you're like, nope, just as dumb as I was before. You would love to drive a tank at least once. Even I haven't driven a tank. I've driven a Humvee. My family owns a military Humvee. We used it to plow the driveway. Thing is, my dad was so proud when he got it. He was blasting, you know the military march, like drums, like
Yeah.
He put on these giant speakers in our driveway, blasted that music, ran around the corner of the garage, and demanded we don't follow him. And all of a sudden, we hear. And then full-sized actual military Humvee would still got the camo, still got everything on it from the military auction, drives around the corner, and this thing's loud as fuck. He stops, comes out the side, says, "This is what I bought at the military auction." My mom was like, "Okay." I was like, "Cool." And Sadie, my sister, was like, "Cool." We were like, "Awesome."
That's my god. So I just found out that the Virginia State Police don't use aircraft anymore. They haven't done it for a few years. But read the first part of that article. This will explain my state to you.
Alright, this is the last thing we're doing in regards to this, and I'm not even making this a conversation. I'll read it, but we're moving on.
Fine, I'll do it because I have it pulled up.
Okay.
Virginia does not enforce speed on the interstate with planes. The sign remains because it would cost more to remove them and possibly put them back up. This is my state in a nutshell.
Alrighty. Sure. We'll do the last round of calls if everybody wants to jump in the call line, ask any questions. I'll drop the link one more time.
I just realized it was 2 o'clock.
You just realized?
Yep.
Alright. So, at any point, feel free to jump in the call line. We'll take in a couple of questions. Feel free to ask anything related to Warhammer, nerd culture, geekdom, or us. Just nothing IRL politics.
Or apparently police related. At least as far as speeding ticket.
No, it's just we talked about that for too long. Like that turned into too much.
Sorry, but it was.
I get that it was annoying, but we talked about that for like an hour.
What do you think about the Custodian Guardian Spears as weapons?
They're cool looking. If you're asking me if I think design-wise they're effective, I mean, for them they are. I don't know, Lewis, you got any thoughts about that?
Not really.
Right.
I know very little about Custodians. We got Calcul in the call line.
Alright. Alright, Calcul, you're on the air. Feel free to ask up to 2 questions, as long as they're not related to politics. Go ahead and shoot.
Oh, thank God it worked this time. I think there was something wrong with the mute button. No, not mute, deafen, whatever. So, oh God, I forgot the question. Give me a moment. Yes, of okay. What RPG systems have you played, and how would you rate them on a scale from 1 to 5?
What's my limit here? Video games, tabletop. What are we talking specifically?
Oh, I mean tabletop. In this context,
Played
or well,
Dungeon.
tabletop slash tabletop substitutes. But yes.
I've played tabletop Dungeons and Dragons. I've played Pathfinder, and I've played with you Open Legends.
Yes.
Out of them, those are the only 3 I've gotten the opportunity to play. Out of those, I would rate Dungeons and Dragons at number 1, Pathfinder at number 2, although I know a lot of people argue it should be number 1. And I would say Open Legends at 3.
Yeah, that's fine. Although I didn't mean it in that sense, I would mean it as in how would you rank them as in on a scale from 1 to 5 as in a score assigned to each single one.
D&D is, depending on the edition, is either a 5 or a 4. I would say Pathfinder is a solid 4, generally. And Open Legends is 3.5, 4, just about.
And for
Right.
me, it's literally going back longer than Asmogon's age. How many different RPGs I've been playing. But to simplify it, there's been GURPS, D&D, 40K,
What's GURPS?
and the generalized universal role-playing system.
It's sort of like Open Legend, but older.
Yeah.
And different. Never.
So GURPS, D&D, 40K, there's one more and I can't think of what it is. And Cyberpunk. And of them, it'll probably be GURPS will probably be a solid 4. D&D, from what editions I have played, will also be a 4. 40K will be about a 4.5, 5. And Cyberpunk about 3, maybe 4.
I almost got the opportunity to play the Cyberpunk tabletop RPG.
Oh, yeah, actually.
Didn't actually end up playing through, which sucked.
Dragonis, yeah, I did play Shadowrun, and that one would probably be right there with Cyberpunk. Probably around the 3-4 range, too. Again, y'all are trying to make me remember over 20 years of RPGs I played.
Yeah,
I've been playing tabletop RPGs
understandable not to remember.
About 10. Yeah, and I've only experienced those 3.
I've been playing for 21 years.
In my defense, I haven't played the 3. I don't know anybody. The thing is, I didn't even know the Warhammer 40k RPG existed till Ludus told me about it. And no one around where I live. Like, I was lucky to find a D&D group. Right? There's so few like groups of like geeks and nerds anywhere in Maine. At least seemingly, there are friend groups who set up stuff, but there's no like groups that like have a Facebook listing or like hey, come hang out with us. Like, you have some geek places where you can meet up with people, but like I said, there's like no groups that like advertise here.
And I want to also
we're hiding in the forest. Like,
it's just not a
like fucking role-playing games.
It's just not a popular thing here. I don't know why. You would think a fairly rural, a fairly outback kind of state would have a lot more room for like older games like that, like playing tabletop RPGs, tabletop war games, stuff like that. But there really isn't. There's so few people who do engage in that stuff.
And for me, it's more of. Also remember that I generalize those as groups, because when you get into especially D&D and 40K, I have played D&D first edition, AD&D, second edition, and 3.5. With 40K, I've played Dark Heresy, Black Crusade, Death Watch. I haven't played. No, I have played Rogue Trader once. So this is me just summing them up as a group instead of going through each and every individual one.
Yeah, I've only played 5th edition D&D. Unfortunately,
I I haven't played fifth. No, I played one game of. No, I played a couple games of fourth, and the few games I played of fourth weren't bad. But that was also because I'm the kind of person when I go in, I always play the min-maxed how can I fuck shit up character. It's either the barbarian who, when I go to knock on a door, the door ends up on the other side of the room, or the mage who is just like so grossly overpowered it's actually sickening.
Yes.
Game of Thrones
Great.
has a tabletop RPG? That surprises me. Well, it doesn't, I
Fucking
guess.
Everything
it
has a tabletop RPG if you look for long enough.
I forgot about that, Garneth Gorn. I haven't played that, but I know a friend who has.
Oh
and he-
no, fucking not Fatal. God
Fatal.
damn it.
Fatal, you actually roll for anal circumference. That is
Oh,
a thing
God.
in that
I
game.
love the fact that that's a fucking meme on like fucking TG.
That's not a meme. That's an actual thing.
Yeah,
That's,
I know, but it's like the fact that that exists and that's become a joke is fucking great to me. It's like, oh,
Every
you're
guy
in a
has
bad
no idea what we're
situation, roll for anal circumference.
Not a fucking clue. Alright, we got someone else waiting, so what's your next, is that your only question, or do you have another one?
I guess I have a short follow-up question, and that would be like, what is your favorite ever like role-playing campaign or experience? I guess.
Ooh, I got one. So my old D&D group, we had one that lasted pretty much from my sophomore year of high school when I met the group and joined their just starting campaign. We finished it my senior year. We went through 2 DMs during that time because our first DM graduated. He was a senior when we first started, and he passed all his notes and everything on to a friend of his who decided to take over. Instead of abandoning the campaign, he just took over for his friend. And as he wasn't one of the players, he wouldn't impact anything. But that 3 long year experience, we had so many individual ones that occurred. I don't know if I could narrow it down. But the campaign was called, if I recall correctly, Legends of Garthantia, or Garthantia. That was the name the original DM made. I remember when we switched DMs that he had a problem with the name because he couldn't pronounce it. Like, it was written weirdly. Our new DM was kept saying Gargantian or Garganties, something like that. He kept mispronouncing it, and all of us, every time the DM would do that, would all simultaneously say the correct pronunciation. It was a meme for our group every time we would meet up, because he would say, "All right, my players, welcome back to the next session of Legends of Gargantia," and we'd be all like, "Gargantia," and he'd be like, "I fucking get it." I don't think he ever got it right until we all graduated, but it was great. But during that campaign, we had so many amazing experiences. The only one I think I'll narrow down for the sake of brevity is we went on a dungeon crawl for a local lord, and my character, who was a necromancer, I was chaotic evil, which I don't know, like the DM was totally okay with that too. Typically DMs hate it when there's like an evil player, but I reasoned my guy used the party for his own gains, so it wasn't like he wasn't hurting the party any, and he wasn't like putting them in detrimental spots. He was just kind of, well,
a dick.
crazy. But when we were doing the dungeon crawl, we found a small gold coin that on the face of the coin was you know how coins have the face? It was alive. It was a character that we had to carry around, and we found out that through this little character named GM, GM as in GIEM, GM, which created a bit of confusion between us and the actual GM, because to specify, we actually had to start calling our GM by his name, his like real name every time, because it just got confusing. Which I find funny. I'm funny he didn't realize that would be a problem when he wrote the character in. But the character on the coin was a knight who had been cursed and his soul bound to an object, and it was bound to this gold coin. And he knew we didn't have a map of the dungeon. No map existed. So this gold coin character was our only way through the dungeon. The thing is, I was ahead of the party in a separate corridor in the dungeon when I found the coin. And being chaotic evil, I stashed the coin. Even though I knew he was talking and the knight told me he could direct me through the dungeon and get vengeance for him and his friends who had fallen, I reasoned that my necromancer would keep this information to himself until it was most advantageous for him for the group. So he stashed the coin. The DM was so mad at me. Because we got lost 4 times before I reasoned the necromancer finally was like begrudgingly like, hey, I got the map as a gold coin character.
My favorite moment would have to be one of my uncle's GURPS games. I played a spellcaster, and so here's the thing. I didn't use spells the way they were supposed to be used. I didn't specialize with spells I did have Fireball because it's fucking Fireball, but I didn't specialize in combat-oriented spells. I specialized in utility spells. Shape Earth, Shape Metal, shit like that. And we were in a post-modern game. So we're on this space station, and these lizard fuckers in these metal spacesuits come out and start shooting at our ship. And I'm like, is our landing is our thing down? So we're completely environmentally sealed. They're like, no, we are environmentally sealed. Like, oh, okay. I peek my head up to the essentially the window and use shape metal on their armor and compress them because their armor can't make a saving throw. And I make lizard sausage. A bunch more come running in. I use shape metal again on the hull of the ship. And I throw them into vacuum. And then use shape metal the last time and seal the hole. Because I don't use combat spells. I use fucked up ways of utility spells. And I love that because
it's creative solutions. It
really is.
As a DM, I love that. I love it when players have like.
Oh, he hated it.
Well, that's
he
the thing.
Hated it.
I will say this to every like DM out there. Granted, I'm not like the most like. I'm not the like biggest, highest tier veteran DM ever, but as a active DM at the moment for my own group and knowing. The operations of it, I'd say the mentality of any DM I would recommend for you to have as the DM to have the max amount of fun is, though you may have a very specific story you want to tell with a very specific flow and with a very specific a specific way characters go about things, learn to loosen up. Hell, if your characters solve the entire campaign's plot issues, as a DM, I think that means the next session you have something fun to write where they go from there. Because I don't think it's a bad thing when players have those really genius ideas. It just means they outthought what you were capable of putting for a challenge for them. Now you have to one-up what they had once did. Now, you should never be upset when players have those creative moments, like where they're like, I have solved the issue well before the DM wanted me to. That happens. But that is just as fun for the players. Don't do what game developers do and create invisible walls.
And also don't ever think about it as the GM versus the players. Now, for anyone who watched my my Death Watch campaign on my channel,
yeah, the thing is,
this was special because I had to outthink my players because they were figuring out shit that I didn't want them to figure out. So I had to figure out a way in universe to kind of like throw the ball in the other direction so they wouldn't focus on it. And they realized really early on, a lot earlier than I wanted them to, that the Inquisitor that was giving the missions was a dick.
No, an Inquisitor a dick? That's
exactly. So they were planning on getting rid of him. So I had them attack. The way they figured this out is they attacked a loyal Imperial Guard detachment, and I sent them to attack. I sent them to attack Space Marines. So I equipped them all in Terminator armor that the Inquisitor had his Mechanicus adepts kind of fuck with the visor on it, so they would come up. So the Space Marines there would come up as traitor Marines. They would look like heretics. And one of them figured it out. Except he was on a planet with no atmosphere. So he goes, I take off my helmet. Like, okay, give me a toughness roll, asshole. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're about ready to suffocate. He's like, all right, I'll put the helmet back on. In their plan, they had a decent plan. Their plan was once they got inside of the compound, of the underground compound, they would be able to take off their helmets on the Terminator armor. All right, cool. That's smart. And then they blow open the doors with crack grenades. And they're wondering why I won't let them take off their helmets without suffocation. So the best part about this is I had to continuously outthink them, but they gave me the solution to it. Because the problem was, how do I make them keep their helmets on? Oh, well, now the entire compound has no atmosphere. I loved doing that. That was actually a really fun campaign. In the fact that I actually got to turn, at the time, my only moderator on my channel into a dreadnought was also kind of fun. Dreadnoughts are OP in Deathwatch.
Yeah, I can't. I gotta play a 40k RPG sometime. I just have no one to play that with.
If they finally fix my schedule the way they're supposed to, I might try and run another one. But until they do, I can't.
Yeah. Alrighty. So thank you, Calcio, for your 2 questions. I hope those are satisfactory answers.
Yes, I'm happy with these answers. This visit was sponsored by...
Alright. Pulling in Karn. Alright, Karn, same rules as always. You can ask any question as long as it's not related to IRL politics. And, yeah, go ahead and shoot. Ask up to 2.
Sorry, I had to mute the stream first. I got a little bit of a problem that I sometimes don't like games, even though I know they are really good. Just like I'm not a big fan of Dragon Age, I'm not a big fan of Mass Effect. Do you guys have the same problems with some games where you know it should be good, you know you should like them, but you just don't?
Gears of War. Everyone loves Gears of War, but I just can't get into it.
Thinking. I can't.
It's not easy. It's not easy at first, but once you start,
I'd say. What's the parameters of what's the parameters of it? Like how genuine? Would you say generally popular games?
yeah, genuine popular games. Like I said, like Dragon Age. Like there are a lot of people that really like Dragon Age.
I can't get into Fortnite for the life of me. Like the gameplay is smooth. The systems are solid. Arguably,
Yeah, but Fortnite is garbage. Everyone agrees.
I don't like the aesthetic, and as smooth as the gameplay is, like I said, I couldn't never get it. PUBG as well. It's. I just think I don't really like the battle royale modes. Like for me, it's just. I hate that entire games are really made of it because it's barely a mode.
Yeah, those used to be called arena modes.
Yeah, it's barely a mode though. Like I hate that game. Like people are straight up like, "Oh, this is a new battle royale game." It's like, no, it's a mode that's being advertised as a game. Games have multiple modes.
Like Quake 3 had it, where everyone just had one life. I don't remember if Quake 2 had it. Red Faction had it. Like that's a game mode that already existed.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's hard to say Fortnite's like one that counts for what you're asking, though, because there are a lot of people who don't like it. It's just a generally popular game for like kids. For a game out of like hardcore gamers that people really, really, really love, that I could never really mesh with or never really liked. I don't know. I like so many games that most people do. I'd say probably Fallout 3.
Yeah, also not a big fan of the Fallout series.
No, the thing is, I like Fallout as a series. It's Fallout 3 specifically.
No.
Like,
Okay.
a lot of people were like, oh, that's the game of the year. Fallout 3 is better than New Vegas. Fallout 3 is awesome. I hated it. Storyline was boring. The mechanics, boring. The green tinge on everything was eye grating. Generally, I just did not like Fallout 3.
The ending is a major ass pull.
Yeah, I wasn't too drawn in by it.
And kind of like me in New Vegas. New Vegas was my bad Fallout game.
Things I love New Vegas.
I have never. The only thing I liked about New Vegas was the big empty DLC, and that was about it.
I liked all of it. DLC were all just enhancements already a great experience.
I think my biggest problem with New Vegas is that there are not enough quests for a map that big.
For me, it's just it felt like they love that game, but it's kind of like you're the hooker and you don't get paid. There's just you have all the fun and no satisfaction at the goddamn end.
roll for anal circumference.
Roll for anal circumference, yes. But no, I mean, it's like
Blizzard brings out Burning Crusade Classic, roll for circumference.
hey, actually, I'm actually debating about getting that back up because I love Burning Crusade.
Well,
Oh.
it's live right now, isn't it? TBC
Yeah.
Classic.
I think it's in beta.
I haven't played it at all though. Like I'm thinking about
Oh,
hopping
no,
on
it is
TBC Classic, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would love to play World of Warcraft.
The thing
again,
is,
but
right now the only time I can excuse doing gaming right now is to live stream it. Unfortunately, I like my own spare time. If I have spare time, it's going towards Warglaive.
Yeah.
Almost entirely.
like
I
I'm
don't-
so done with Blizzard. Not even TBC. As much as I want to play TBC, I'm not going to back.
Yeah.
As much as it hurts me, I love TBC.
Ben Carn said classic is easier than retail. I want to know what you're smoking and where I can get
Yeah,
Well,
depends.
hold
what
on.
you are doing.
Hold on. Fincarn might be a miswording there. He might mean easier to get into.
Okay,
Or-
now if that's the case, then that's fair. But if you mean like easier gameplay, no. That's the whole
It's-
point of
yeah,
retail.
if it
I would
say
retail
the
is retail holds your hand like fucking crazy, and it's meh.
It's
I would say the rates are easier in Classic than in.
Oh yeah, but that's
Modern
because
WoW.
those are old raids that people have been replaying
Yeah.
in modern WoW
And, like,
forever.
Those
Yeah.
bosses in Classic rates, they
But
don't
the
do
leveling
too
experience
much.
is far more satisfying in classic.
well, no, so
Oh,
I,
it is.
I will say
People are like, oh, it drags like crazy. It takes forever to gain a level. I know. That means it's worth it when you get there. It's like, oh my
But
god,
they
I'm level
noticed
5. Yes.
Cthulhu
Okay.
and Twin Emperor are like the exceptions. They are really good bosses.
Well, no,
This
you
level
just made-
20 in retail, you're like, meh. It's like,
Well, no,
ooh.
Karn made a good point in that, like the earlier raids, I get what you're saying because I know exactly what you mean. They had less mechanics that you had to worry about, and it was more just. It really was more of a grind fest. But the later raids, they're like, here, let's put in random fucking mechanics.
Yeah, and you have
I-
to worry about 40 retards instead of just 25.
Yeah, and the thing with also modern raids that I think plenty of like WoW veterans will talk about, but I don't hear this enough from like the general crowd. But like also the loot experience.
Ugh,
Like
loot has gotten so boring.
loot is it's just a random number generator. It's just that though. Like
I remember working for a tier set. Now you just get
yeah.
random loot with random numbers. Sometimes you Titan forge it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, and if you
Then
look
it's
up
Azerite, then it's
it-
not Azerite.
if you look up
Blah.
on Wowhead the percentages of getting some items in some of the modern raids too, it's fucking ridiculous. Like 0.1% ridiculous of getting some loot. It's like that uncommon.
The only thing less fun than that is like shaving your nuts with a
Yeah,
rusty
it's
razor.
it's a way to force you to play longer because your likelihood of getting the loot that you want is so fucking low.
And,
Yeah,
and the
they-
worst part about it is, especially on raids, you can only do this weekly.
Yeah. Like they want player retention and nothing else.
That's it. And the thing is, I think the you can see most identifiably where Blizzard has truly died in just how they talk to the players now versus then.
Yeah.
Like now they talk about like they say like, oh, players are having fun because we watch this analytical metric of this certain kind of engagement. It's like, what are we robots? It's like, oh, players are having fun because robots. These players are having fun because this metric, which we have measured by this particular metric, has determined that players are having this amount of fun. It's like, can someone shoot the Activision bot and get an actual developer on stage for 5 goddamn seconds?
Fincorn said Mythic Plus is harder than any dungeon, and the Burning Crusade, nothing you say will change that. Mythic Plus may be harder, but it literally comes down to what type of raids they are.
Mythic Plus just pumps up numbers. Nothing
Yeah.
else. No. Sometimes it does change some bosses, but after a while in the dungeons, after a while, Mythic Plus only ups numbers. The bosses don't do
Essentially,
Yeah,
different
and the
stuff.
thing is, it's not even really a satisfying difficulty up. I would
No.
argue, like it doesn't. It's not like a difficulty up that you actually feel better about. It's just kind of the numbers are up. The mechanics slightly changes, and when it comes to rewards, yeah, you get better rewards, but again, it's still low percentages for the best stuff, and you
I remember
still
when it
need to
was
grind
like-
the fuck out of it.
But I remember when Mythic was like, there were like 5 levels to it when it first came out. And I got on about a month or two ago, and this was the last time I've been on in a while. And it was funny because I saw someone like, is anyone ready for the Mythic 16? I'm like, what the
Oh, go fuck yourself. I never went over fucking 10.
No,
I get
love
ready to
how it was
shoot
like-
myself.
Well, no, because I remember like 1 through 5, and they were all like drastically different. Like they were big jumps from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. They were big jumps between all 5. And I was like, Mythic 16? Like, what the fuck?
They smoking that good shit.
And
Nah,
no
I
shit.
wanted good shit.
It's
Yeah.
like all you hear from the dungeon and raid development group in Blizzard is, okay, add on 5 more levels. No, it makes it better. No, it doesn't need to be a big jump. Just add it on. They'll think it's a big jump.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Because
Like they
realistically,
think it's a big jump.
And we
Yeah,
we could
'cause-
probably go down this rabbit hole for like another day.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's. So what's your second question?
Oh, it's not as fun. My second question is not as fun, but it would be like, is there any TCG you guys like?
TCG?
Trading card games.
Oh, I liked Yu-Gi-Oh.
oddly enough, I did too.
Maybe I should add to it. Why did you stop or not continue paying attention to the game?
Well, in my case, same problem with like, not being able to find any groups to play like 40k RPGs with, or local D&D groups, or local Warhammer 40,000 tabletop like full army games. Same reason being a fan of all these kinds of stuff in Maine is such a pain in the ass is not enough people engage in it. There's simply, I know it's weird to phrase it like this, but there's simply so few geeks, at least like geek groups in Maine, that if I want to find one that publicly advertises itself, I got to travel 2 hours
Yeah,
to New Hampshire,
Or
because
you
that's
are going
literally
to
I've
have
looked.
to use online stuff.
Yeah, I've literally looked it up before. The nearest like group, and this is before COVID, by the way. Like none of this COVID factors in, but that aside, you still barely find any groups in Maine. If you want a guaranteed geek group that is going to meet weekly, I have to travel 2 hours to a different state.
Like I have to buy the video games to get a little bit of the
So-
Yu-Gi-Oh in me.
Yeah, so that's why I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh, because Yu-Gi-Oh was popular when I was a kid, because all the other kids were getting cards, but then we all grew out of it really quickly. Like middle
Yep.
school, everybody was like immediately switching off to Yu-Gi-Oh. Very few people played it, so I stopped collecting around that time. I still had like over 10,000 cards at one point.
My mother got rid of them all once I left home.
And my two would probably be Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic the Gathering.
I never got into Magic the Gathering.
I never
I
liked
had-
the mana system in Magic.
I have been playing Magic the Gathering since I was 3.
Those fucking mana cards were like glued to my hand. I
The,
could
the,
mulligan like a retard. And I
the
always
funny
have
thing
mana.
is, I was beating grown ass adults when I was 4 years old at Magic the Gathering. I remember doing a 4-way free for all and beating all 3 adults at 4 with a green deck.
I love Vincan. Yu-Gi-Oh! Also has a problem with power inflation. Half the cards I use are banned or no longer competitive.
Yeah. And the
Ah.
funny thing with Magic the Gathering is, it's like now all of the powerful cards back from when I actually fucking enjoyed the game, they're just completely pointless now.
Yeah, I hate set rotation. I
It's
read
not even set rotation. It's just because my deck was green. Actually, I'm sorry, I lied. It was a green artifact deck.
you cancer.
And one my 2 most powerful cards was a green 6/6 with trample and an artifact 9/9 with trample.
Like I said, cancer.
It was beautiful though. It
The
was
worst
so
thing,
beautiful.
you could make it worse by putting in blue.
No, I
Just
hate,
to fuck with people even more.
the last deck I had, I think, was black and red. Black is
What?
a fun color to play.
One of my friends only plays black and blue.
Yeah,
For years.
black is an amazing color. You have health; it is my health now.
Yum, 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 yum.
Sits here not knowing black, red magic terminology. Just
What the
Black.
fuck are they talking about?
So essentially, the way it works is white spells specialize in like defensive abilities or healing. Green, or I hate saying this, is really kind of like your base strong shit. Red is your direct damage or like first strike abilities. The blue is how can I fuck with people other than me. And black is, I really wish that was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Black is, hey, you have health, give me. And when and to clarify with blue, my wife has a card, and I hate this goddamn card. That every time you draw a card, you discard 2 cards.
That's
I
so
hate-
funny. In Yu-Gi-Oh! That would be a shit card. Because it will set up the graveyard of your opponent. But
Oh,
in
yeah.
Magic, it's awesome.
In Magic, it's so terrifying because I have nothing to counter because I have just black, so I have really nothing to get rid of enchantments.
Oh, I think green even had buffs, many buffs.
Yeah, green's buffs. Green and red specialize in buffing. Red specializes in buffing attack, and red buffed attack. Green specialized in buffing toughness and kind of like regeneration and shit.
And I think white also could swarm relatively well.
Not early on. There was white.
It
was
came
more-
later.
Yeah. See, I stopped around like 5th edition.
And then they like did that mechanic where you could combine cards. And then they dropped it
I
like the
just looked
fucking-
over. I just looked over at the chat. And I saw Asmodee looks like a lost puppy right now, and I look over at his cabin. He's like, "What are these assholes talking about?"
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm sorry as well. I could start talking about fucking Hearthstone. I dropped that game like a fucking brick. Oh yeah, sorry.
Then I'll need a blanket and a pillow because I'll be putting me right out.
That old can't tell you about those card games. Okay, no,
Yeah, Dragonis summed it up actually pretty well. Blue spells and counter spells, black lots of life steal and undead, red minion spamming and damage spells, white is good at buffing other monsters and healing them, green is good monsters and defense. Yeah, that's actually a decent way of summing it up.
Gotcha.
I didn't have green have like a stupid card that was like a 9/3.
Green has had a lot of stupid cards over the years.
Like, yeah, you have 9 attack, but you have only like 3 health. What the fuck? What's wrong with you?
I think I
Hey,
regeneration.
Chapakarn, I'll afford you a third question if we can get off this topic.
Oh no, sorry. No, that's it. So
All right.
thanks for answering. Sorry for the tirades.
It's okay.
Well, I got the third question with that World of Warcraft stuff.
Okay. Oh, he left. I suppose it wasn't such a good third question. Yeah. I miss. The thing is, as much when it comes to Warcraft stuff, I will say, as much as the classic, game, the classic servers that they're setting up for both actual classic and now TBC classic.
Yeah.
As much as I and every other player, including you, I'm guessing, all were hoping that would represent not a return to form, but represent at least some kind of change in Blizzard, as much as it is an opportunity for players to actually re-experience what once was.
Right.
But it really has. It's been kind of the former, and very little of the latter. Like well, sorry, the other way around. It's been more so of the latter and less of the former. Blizzard hasn't really changed at all. Like actually, they set up a game, they're setting up an in-game shop for TBC Classic, and with a pre-order of TBC Classic, they were setting up store mounts as incentive to buy it.
One
That I saw.
of the, well, no, because I think you had TBC Classic for free.
No, but they had mounts that you could buy for them.
Oh. But now I will say this, because one thing
In
that
TBC, by the way, not in normal WoW.
Yeah. Before
Shadowlands.
Classic was even talked about, this was back in what was it before Shadowlands? Battle for Azeroth. In Battle for Azeroth, when it first came out, me and my dad were talking, because me and my dad have been playing WoW since vanilla. And I said, he's like, well, what do you think would make it better? Because they've just streamlined it for, all these new players coming in and made it too damn easy, shit like that, So what do you think would make it better? I was like, well, if they made it to where you can play whatever expansion you want. And if there's one you don't want to play, or if there's multiple you don't want to play, go through and okay. And then you don't have to play them, because for me, I'm not really a fan of Cataclysm. So if I can do anything to avoid Cataclysm, hey, I'm happy. So when towards about the middle end of Battle for Azeroth, they added in where you could pick which expansion that you leveled up in, I was really excited for that one. And then and I think after that, that's when they did. It was I can't remember if it was before that or right after that they announced Classic. I don't think it was actually before. But if they do the same thing with the Classic servers, and they have like WoW Classic, Burning Crusade Classic, Wrath Classic, Cataclysm Classic, if they have essentially Classic of all the expansions except for the.
The thing is, they don't need to do a Cata Classic, because the game is still, as it currently is in its current form, is still Cata to current expansion.
Yeah.
So they don't need to do that. The only Classic servers they would need is Vanilla Classic, TBC Classic, and Wrath.
Well, no, they could go all the way up to, say, like now that we're in Shadowlands, they would stop at Battle for Azeroth. And
but how? But my point is, none of those would play different though than the current game.
They kind of would though, especially between a good example of this would be between Legion and BFA and Draenor and Legion.
Well, no, they wouldn't, because each of the current expansions are designed with only 10 levels of progression in mind.
But the level scaling was a lot different. Like how much health you had, the raids, all that shit. Like it was a lot different in game for all those expansions.
For all the older ones, definitely.
No, even going into Draenor, Legion, and BFA.
I think technically not true. The gameplay in today is not the same as Cata gameplay. No, but like the flow of the game.
Right. No, and that I agree with. That's when they massively changed the flow, and they kept that flow from Cata all the way to now. They have changed it a little bit, made it a lot easier, especially through Mists and Draenor. But they've kept relatively the same flow. But what I'm saying is the scaling, even though it was 10 levels, there's still a big difference in the scaling between Draenor and Legion, between Legion and BFA, between MOP and Draenor. You know, there's a big difference between all of them. So you could do classics of that, because even though, yes, the level scaling is technically the same, there are
Well-
different experiences and the end
And
result.
the other problem is it doesn't make sense to make classics of all those expansions when Kata and Onward they don't feel as old as Wrath, for example, or TBC, and they're also not even as, for the player base, is remembered as fondly. Like, how many people are like, I know a lot of people who want a Wrath classic for sure.
Yeah,
But how
absolutely.
many people have you heard saying I want a Kata classic?
Oh, I don't know, because I hate Cataclysm. I never.
I've heard no
it.
one
It's kinda
asked
shut
for a
down.
Kata classic. How many people have asked for a Mists classic? No
This
one.
is
No,
well,
that
no,
I've heard of.
If it were my call, I'd probably stop at Legion. That's where I would stop.
It's the
That way, no BFA, no.
there's just no demand for it. Like everything Kata post, nobody wants a server dedicated to those times. Like, I don't know anybody who's like, yeah, I want a Draenor classic. I want a BFA classic.
Oh, I would love a Draenor classic.
Huh?
I would love a Draenor classic. Draenor was my favorite expansions.
Right.
No, seriously.
Right. Okay.
Wrath. It would be my top three. Would probably be Wrath, Classic, and Draenor.
I would give Draenor more credit than it got when it officially came out, but I still have a major problem with a lot of its systems.
I mean, because my thing was, I really, as much as I
It
get
had an
shit-
awesome rating scene, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, the raids and dungeons in Draenor were awesome. I
don't like the leveling experience personally.
for Draenor. I kind of did, because I like the
I
way it
hated
made
the
you go-
Alliance leveling.
Oh no, see that's why, because I was Horde, because fuck the Alliance.
Horde is fairly good. I love the storyline for the Horde. The Alliance storyline for their leveling was kind of meh. Like, they tried to be epic with it. It didn't feel it to me.
It just didn't, because it's the Alliance. That's why. But no, I mean, I really like the leveling for the Horde for Draenor, and I also, again, I like the dungeons and the raids for it. But I also really like the garrison system. I hate how they kind of took that and ran with it, and they thought that, oh, we can keep doing this the exact same way, and it's a great idea.
My biggest problem with the garrisons is they were not made as an MMO mechanic.
Right.
The garrisons are for so a player never has to leave one spot to do anything. Like, you can go to your garrison, you can mine if that's one of your professions. You can do leatherworking if that's one of your professions. You can do every one of your professions there, and you
Well,
can set up an auction house. So you
No,
don't even
no,
have to go to a main
fair.
city and meet up with anybody. It's
Well,
an
no, that's-
anti-MMO mechanic, and that was my
No,
biggest fucking
that's-
problem with that expansion, was the garrisons.
True. Because end game, you would definitely have to leave your garrison for the raids, the dungeons. But when you're talking about like the mining, the herbalism, and the you couldn't skin in your garrison.
No,
But
but
you
you could
could do-
process everything there.
You yes and no, because you processed it into something completely different. You processed it into like mid-end game special items, and that was the only way to get them. But when you start getting to like the real end game shit, especially for mining and herbalism, you had to go to, I'm trying to remember what the name of the area was. Ajana, I believe. There was Ajana in one area in Draenor. I can't remember what the last area was. But you had to go both those areas to be able to get the rest of the stuff. But realistically, the amount you got, even from a level 3 mine or from a level 3 herb hut, it wouldn't be enough to last for a day. So you would still have to go out and do stuff. But realistically, you go in and do your dailies, get all of your stuff, and then just go in and do your raids and shit. Warlords also misses a bunch of content that we never got, like the Shatrath raid. Yeah, kind of. There were a lot of missed opportunities with Warlords, but
That's one way to
again,
put
so
it. I still stand by my criticism of the garrisons. I hate them.
And this is one where it's just I actually enjoyed them because I
wouldn't
like
hate
the-
them as much if they didn't pretend they were something they weren't.
Oh yeah, but I like the idea that you could customize it and make it whatever you wanted.
You
That was
really
what I
can't,
really
though.
liked. Yeah, you can.
No, it's templates. They even have sockets you got to fit the buildings in.
Well, no, yeah, but you
Tell
can
me
fit
where
whatever
where
want.
you want to move what wall.
Well, no, for
Tell me where you
the
want to
reason
build
is
what
because-
guard tower.
Well, no, because every garrison you make can be different. Because you could have, I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
I believe the black
your-
was called the Forge.
Your trading post can be either on the left side on this socket.
Well,
or
no,
the right
because you
side on
have
this
more
socket.
choices. You have more choices than slots, so you had to choose what was important to be in there, and that could change from garrison
That's
to garrison.
still a choice in slots.
Okay, but there were more buildings than there were slots, so you had to choose which buildings you had.
Yeah, that's
And
still a
even then-
pathetic level of customization. You
I
see that
didn't
in
say it
phone
was
games.
great, but it was just something added. It was something different than the rest of the bullshit. So you could build up your own garrison. It could look.
It's
relatively
still a
better.
dreadful system.
I
It's
liked
it's an irredeemable, terrible system. They posed it as being like, oh, this is Warcraft's version of housing. How many housing systems in other MMOs let you actually build and choose where everything goes uniquely?
I can kind of get why they didn't do that though.
Literally every other MMO. City of Heroes and Villains allowed you to have hideouts, with big hideouts where you could move wherever the fuck you wanted everything in that room. There wasn't slots. You could literally place it wherever the fuck you wanted.
I mean,
Warframe,
okay,
a free MMO, lets you build entire Tenno dojos where you can place and build buildings anywhere you want. And
But-
hallways as long as you want.
by your own argument, then Fallout 76 has a better base building concept.
It does. That's what I'm saying. That's how bad it is. That's how bad the garrisons are. That a game as shitty as 76 has a better system. That's what I'm saying.
But also, 76 was based around the base building system almost exclusively because they like, hey, this is what people want, and then they realized, maybe we fucked up. But. And even Fincorn says, I can see how that might be a technical limitation. I don't necessarily think it was a technical limitation. I think it's one of the problems that WoW has had.
I don't think it's a technical limitation either, because again, games like City of Heroes, which is an MMO that is now defunct, before WoW even ever wanted to make housing, had a system like that. And they didn't have a better engine, they didn't have a better graphics program, they didn't have a better programming. It was about on par, and they still had that.
I think it was a bad creative decision, but I think they did the best with it, what they could. And like I said, I still like it. I like the idea of the garrison. I like how they did it.
I like the idea. The idea was never executed.
But where I think they really failed is because in Legion you had the class hall. In BFA you had something else that was almost equally special. And I forgot what it was. You had these stupid tables that you had to go to, and I fucking hated them. But it was something that they took it and they're like, hey, everyone likes these for in-game content. I mean, for Draenor, it worked for in-game content, but for Legion and for BFA, it really didn't. And from what I understand, they're doing it again in Shadowlands. Carneth Corn said, I don't think BFA had anything like that. Yes, in-game content where you had to do the PvP areas, especially for the Horde. The table was on the boat in the harbor of the main city. And you had to go there and do all these stupid fucking missions. And it was really stupid. I didn't like it. I didn't like it in BFA. It just didn't fit. It wasn't so much the garrison, it was more the mission table is what they brought back, what they took from Legion and from in Draenor, and they put that in BFA, and they took the idea of the garrison and made it the class hall in Legion.
Equally as dumb as systems, if you ask me, but yeah, the garrison was a slap in the face to the player base and an insult. I stand by that. And I've heard every argument there is so far about why garrisons aren't that bad.
I mean, it's just personal preference.
your personal preference is you want to be handed shit and you're satisfied with it if you like
No,
Garrisons.
No,
It
I like
is
it.
because what
For me.
do you remember what they said Garrisons were going to be at BlizzCon?
Yeah,
They said it was
I
going to be
do.
player housing and that you could fully customize them. They use that terminology.
Also, I want to address something that
Name it.
Correct.
Can you change
Yeah.
the banners at your Garrison? Can you customize the colors of your
you
banners?
can change the statue, if I remember right.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Amazing.
As far
Forgive
as
me while
banner,
I hold in my shock. And all. At
because
the
you would
amazing
unlock,
level of customization.
you would unlock different different statues based on achievements.
It's a piece of
or-
shit. I'm leaving it at that. I've not heard a single argument for how they're not.
And then Karneth Coin said, I rage quit in BFA since they fuck shamans over even harder than ever. Well, shamans have always been kind of the bastard child of WoW, but if I remember right, they actually buffed Elemental overall.
Alright.
I'd have to double-
Coin says you can change banners. I don't remember that being a thing. Hold on.
I remember you being able to change the music. I don't remember the guards or the banners.
I do not remember that.
I remember the music because you had to go and find the shit, and that's
If you can change it to the extent I'm imagining, I'll soften my opinion a little bit, but my opinion still stands and is still correct, and I stand by. But if that'll soften it certainly if it's to the extent I'm picturing. Hold on. Sorry to type like this.
Oh yeah, I sent you the link to Fatal. I don't know if you saw that or not. Also, a lot of people did not like Fatal.
Hold on. Okay. So far, none of the images on Google Images are showing anybody without Horde or Alliance banners, or red or yellow or blue or orange, pink, black, gray buildings. It's either red or blue, whether you're Horde or Alliance. Yeah, still nothing. Alright, so Google Images has got jack shit on that. Alright. Let's go to YouTube, see if someone's got a video.
Just a
Alright, somebody put up a statue.
Karneth Corn said you might need the barracks or something.
Somebody's...
Murder Shit said it would have been decent customization in 1996. No, that would have been outstanding customization in 1996, considering what games came out in that
Okay,
time.
so the only video I see on Garrison customization from Bellular Gaming is 2 minutes and 24 seconds long, and the whole video is him trying out different statues. No changing of banner colors, no changing of guard armor, nothing. Okay. So let me try and be more specific with my search. Custom colors. That's character colors. That's a no so far because it's just showing characters. Your character. Yep. Nothing.
See, that one I wasn't too sure about. So I know
Banner
that
colors. Let's try being more specific. Aha! You can put your guild banner up. The buildings are still the same color. And the rest of the banners are still Horde or Alliance. I'm blown away.
Oh my. Karn put something in gaming, so I'm checking it out right now. It's from Icy Veins.
All right.
Changing the guards and banners of your garrison, the default guards and banners of your garrison, those of Stormwind or Orgrimmar. After upgrading your barracks to level 3, you can change this. Simply talk to the NPC in charge of your barracks. They will give you the choice between the following factions, provided you are exalted with them. Alliance is Ironforge, Darnassus, Gnomeregan, Exiles, Exodar, Gilneas, Tushui, and Knights of the Ebon Blade. Horde is Undercity, Thunderbluff, Darkspear Trolls, Silvermoon City, Bilgewater Port, Potion, or Knights of the Ebon Blade. So what this would do is it would change the banners and the and your guards to almost explicitly one of those races, and have that race's banners in your garrison after level 3 barracks. I do vaguely remember that.
So
that has been
pitiful. I understand.
Well, what it
Pitiful.
would essentially what it would do is
Truly impressive how pitiful that customization is.
I mean, he wasn't wrong though. He was right.
No, he's right. I'll admit that. I'm still just as unimpressed and irritated. So, in terms of its level of patheticness, that's a word, it is gone from -1,000 to -999. Truly, truly amazing.
And Carter's going to say and prove that I'm not crazy.
Suffice to say, I hate the garrison system, and I stand by my comment is still accurate. There's no customization. If you call that customization, I should show you a couple. I should show you the footage from Star Wars Galaxies from the customization you could do. I can show you footage from literally any modern MMO other than for Warhammer with their housing systems.
You mean Warhammer?
That let you, huh?
You said Warhammer.
What?
You said Warhammer.
I just said, okay, well, whatever. Modern MMO. Just what I'm pretty sure I said, but okay.
You said modern MMO other than Warhammer.
Other than Warcraft.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You called Warcraft Warhammer. Look, even as many times as Warhammer has pissed me off, I still wouldn't call it Warcraft.
My point is, I still would not call changing a statue and changing the guards and the banners to one of the selectable factions, which, by what we read, didn't even change the building types in your garrison. I wouldn't exactly call that customization. Technically it is, but by comparison to literally any other MMO with housing, to call that pathetic would be kind.
You're going to love this one. It reminds me of the housing system in Skyrim. Have you done that yet? The housing system in Skyrim? That's what it reminds me of, actually, now that I think about it. Especially if you build your own house.
I haven't done much with housing in Skyrim. I bought a house, but other than that, I didn't do anything with it.
So literally, in order to build your own house, you have to be a Jarl or not a Jarl, a Thane in one of three specific areas. And when you do build it, you can build up a small house, which can be built onto to make a large house. And then for one of the north, east, and west wings, you have 3 choices apiece. And unfortunately, because the way they line up is they're all supposed to be kind of matched together. So when you build like let's look at Lakeview Manor because that's the right one. Eat shit and die. I'm trying to figure out where this is. There we go. Build your main home. Okay. So you have for your east wing, your armor, your kitchen, or your library. Your north wing has your alchemy laboratory, storage room, or trophy room. And your west wing is your bedroom, enchanter's tower, and greenhouse. Now, the enchanter's tower, alchemy laboratory, and library all look like part of a matching set. Same as the kitchen, trophy room, and greenhouse, and the bedroom, storage room, and armory. So if you build them, those 3 sets all look like they built the same. Now you can mix and match them, but they look goofy as hell.
All right.
It is absolutely special. And the worst part about it is the amount of resources you've got to build in order to just build those alone, much less furnish them, is outlandish. That's why we cheat.
That's why I use mods. But yeah. I hate the garrison system. And I've actually seen... Have you seen that video of done by Hirumendix, whatever the fuck his name is? The YouTuber who also did the video that Garrosh did nothing wrong?
No.
Okay. Well, he did a video that Warlords of Draenor wasn't the worst expansion.
I
Now,
wouldn't say
for
it's
the
the
most part,
worst.
he made a lot of good points. And a lot of them I agreed with. When he got to the garrison, he was like, well, people say you can't do any customization. And now that I think about it, with Carnicorn, yeah, he also did mention that, oh, well, actually, if you upgrade your barracks to level 3, you can. I thinking of that video, and even when I was watching at the time, I was like, I still wouldn't call that customization. Ooh, you switch the banner to one of the other key factions of your faction. You switch the statue around. Be in awe of the impressive customization.
But for me, I could never say that Draenor is the worst expansion, especially next to something like fucking Kata. Kata was garbage. Kata was the bottom of the garbage pile.
I would say the worst expansion was either Kata or Draenor. Kata, because you're right, it had generally the worst inclusions and not enough bonuses. The reason I put Draenor down there is almost entirely because of the garrison system, because of I find it incredibly insulting.
Kata, BFA, to an extent, MOP. As much as I like the art style of MOP.
This is pretty bad, yeah.
I would put Draenor and Legion in the middle, and I would almost put them tied. Because realistically, I would say the only thing that would give Legion an edge up is because it introduced the Demon Hunter. That's about it. But even then, that's not even that big of a thing. But, so... Yeah, because, honestly, yeah. I'm going to change what I said before, because it would probably be... Wrath, Classic, Burning Crusade... Then the 2 Draenor and Legion. Then BFA, MOP, and Kata.
I would do Kata, Draenor.
And as far as Shadowlands, I can't honestly put it
BFA.
there.
Yeah,
I can't.
Okay. Then Mists. And after that, I would do Legion. Yeah, that does it for like the bottom.
I can't honestly put Shadowlands in there because I haven't beaten Shadowlands yet, so I've only done like the first 2 areas. maybe 3.
I lost interest after I got through the Bastion zone.
Yeah, I did Bastion, and then I did. No, I'm on my 3rd area because I did Bastion, and then I did. Oh, yes, I can't remember what it is, but you get to meet Thrall's mom, and she's a badass assassin.
Yeah, I got there and I was already kind of like, meh.
That was a cool concept, though, how they did her character.
Yeah, but in my opinion, the whole expansion is jumping the shark.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely.
And the thing is, technically they jumped the shark a couple times now. The Burning Crusade, the Legion, that should have been the last expansion. Because the Burning Crusade was supposed to... Sorry, the Burning Legion. I keep saying Burning Crusade. Burning Legion is supposed to be the penultimate enemy with Sargeras.
Yeah.
And the Deus Ex Machina bullshit that they did to solve all that crap,
Give up
as
your
it was,
weapons.
that should have been lore-wise the last expansion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Everything since has been jumping the shark. BFA, like the threats in BFA, it's like we went from fighting the literal hell armies
To each other.
to back to fighting each other,
Yeah.
where the neutral enemy for all was a fish lady.
And the best part is in Shadowlands is we beat the army of hell demons in Legion. BFA, we go back to fighting each other. Shadowlands, you know what? Let's actually go to hell ourselves and fight.
Yeah, it's... If they try and make an expansion after Shadowlands, I dare them. Like, what the fuck are they gonna do now?
They will. No, they absolutely will.
We fought...
You know they will.
We fought... After Shadowlands, there's literally nothing else in the lore.
Each other! See,
Again?
that's what it is. Yes!
What about after that?
In between every expansion, so the way it goes is, after Wrath, the way they have done it is, so Wrath, you had to fight the Lich King. Cataclysm, yeah, you had Deathwing, but it was mostly about fighting each other. Then you have Mist of Pandaria. Oh, let's go to a new area and fight each other. Draenor. Oh, let's go back in time and stop bad shit from happening in our timeline. Legion. Let's stop the Hell Demons. BFA. Oh, wait, we haven't fought each other in a long time. Let's fucking kill each other. Shadowlands. Let's go to hell. So now we're due for let's go kill each other again.
Hey, let's leave the realm of the dead and just send each other back the old-fashioned way.
Exactly.
It's... Lore-wise, they jumped the shark so goddamn hard. There's nowhere they can go. Fighting each other again? Yeah, I can see another expansion of us fighting each other yet fucking again. But why the fuck... Like... The thing is, when Wrath came around, we gave a shit because it was the Lich King fighting the Scourge again. That was big, and that was an awesome fucking expansion. But the expansion before that, with going to fight Illidan in Outland, fucking big deal.
Yeah.
Kata fighting some dragon that was in the obscure lore.
Well, actually, so for those of you who don't know, I know the obscure lore around this dragon. He was actually the one who created the planets. So, of all the dragons, there were 5 dragon aspects: red, green, blue, bronze, and black. Red was the aspect of life, blue was the aspect of magic, green was the aspect of life, bronze was the aspect of time, black was the aspect of earth, who ended up becoming Deathwing. And he is the one who literally created all of the planets, whereas Alexstrasza, the red aspect of life, after Deathwing took and created like these little clay figurines, she breathed life into them.
Fincard says, next expansion, it looks like it'll be the War of Light and Shadow. I have not seen that speculated anywhere. Not sure even what that's referencing. Fincard, let me in the conversation. I can justify it. Well, you're free to jump in the call line at any point. Keep my eye on it.
I'm gonna see if there is actually.
What is that even a reference to? Is that between like Bastion and the Maw? Because aren't we already kind of doing that right now?
Will WoW have another expansion? The next World of Warcraft expansion is called World of Warcraft Shadowlands.
It's already out. Alright, Finkarn's on.
So here's
Alright, Finkarn, yeah, go ahead and justify it, but be prepared to be disagreed with strongly.
Yeah, I know. Okay, ever since the Battle for Azeroth, what Blizzard has been doing is they have been setting the next expansion. For example, during Battle for Azeroth, there was a death team. That's why everyone knew that Shadowlands was the next expansion. You had characters like Bamsandi, and there, particularly the Horde, will see these death teams. That's why Shadowlands, when it came out, nobody was surprised.
Yeah, before you go any further, do you not agree that going to fight in the literal afterlife is jumping the shark?
It can be, it cannot be.
Okay, you say that, but in your opinion, why wouldn't it be jumping the shark?
It wouldn't be if they managed to hint and set up something else. Because
what is that something else? Now let's get to that. What is that something else?
Have you seen the cosmography chart on World of Warcraft?
Probably, but I'm not thinking of it right this second. Hello?
And also
actually, I think we just lost him for a second there. He just went silent.
I think he's looking it up.
Okay.
Okay, well, you Google it.
I'm not Googling it. I already found something else.
Okay. Well, the point of the cosmography chart is that they show that there are 6 cosmological forces, kind of like the Chaos Gods are in Warhammer, but in this case they're supposed to be morally neutral. Some are better than others, but regardless, the idea is the Shadowlands is just the realm of death. There is still
correct.
There are other realms where people are supposed to go.
You realize the ridiculousness of saying that, though, right?
Yes.
Oh, it's just the realm of death. You know, it's just the realm of death. We're gonna go in here with axes, hammers, bows, and pets, and we're gonna kill literal fucking immortal dead people who are already here.
Okay.
And you expect them to go somewhere from here?
Well, you can go to the realm of the void. That's where we haven't go.
Okay, what's there that's crazier than fighting literally the death realms?
Yeah, okay. you can keep going bigger and bigger and bigger if you want.
Unfortunately, he's
no, but you haven't explained what's bigger than the literal death realms.
Hold on, I'm about ready to show you because Karn put this in the chat. This is the actual realms. So the Shadow Realms would be. I'm trying to think of actually where this would fucking be.
Wouldn't that be in the Shadow Void thing right there?
I'm thinking it would be.
There it is. There it is. It's between Air and Decay.
It's one of the smaller ones too.
That makes no sense.
Okay, what I need to see this. What's going on?
It's in the gaming tab, and Chaplain Karn put it in there. But real quick on what I found is will Shadowlands be the last?
Okay,
expansion?
So the expansion, based on the name you provided in the chat,
that it is.
Based on the name you provide, Shadow and Light would be. Are you saying that would be between the Naru and the Holy Realm versus the Void Realm and the Old Gods?
Yeah, that's what it's looking to being set up because.
And you think it makes sense for our mortal characters to even be players in that game?
They have always been players in that game. The question.
No.
Give me a moment. We already had a war between the Light and Disorder. We had the Army of the Light fighting the Burning Legion. We already did this. This is not news.
Well, no, that is different.
That is entirely different. That is entirely fucking different.
In what way is different?
Because they were creatures, they were demons, they were actual alien monsters. They weren't interdimensional beings.
Hold on, Asmogon. Hold on a minute. I have the actual answer to this. Using the chart that Karneth Korn put up, if you look, here's why it's different. The Naru and the Army of Light, which fall under the Naru, are literally right next door to the Burning Legion. If you also look, the Naru are on the opposite end of the spectrum as the Old Gods. So that's two different forces. That's not something they've done before.
Yeah, it's a great difference. We are going to fight Cthulhu.
You just said it's the same thing.
No, yeah, I'm being sarcastic. I mean, what's the difference between fighting fighting Satan and fighting Cthulhu for you? What's the big difference for you?
Well, from what I know in fantasy, I'd rather fight Satan than Cthulhu.
Why?
Make embarrass myself with the ridiculousness of this.
Oh yeah, the work of lore is insane, but again, I can give you the internal justification.
No, my problem with this is it already makes no sense to me that our players, our characters, are able to even remotely fight in the Shadow Realms. We're fighting the dead in a less literal sense than the undead. We're fighting their spirits in an afterlife with physical bodies.
Well,
that already makes no sense to me. It all of a sudden, the thing is, the Shadowlands before now felt like this big, almost incomprehensible realm. Now it's just another continent. It's just another landscape. That's all it is. The angels, they're just another set of beings.
Well, now, hold on a minute. Now,
the guys in all the other realms, they're just another set of races. They're aliens, pretty much. That's how big they are. They're not super powerful beings. They're not impressive. They're not above us in all these ways if we can kill them. If they do that for the Holy and Light, if they do that for the Shadow Realm and for the Light Realm, what the fuck is the point of any of these things supposedly being controlling aspects of the universe if we can kill them with axes, hammers, and bows?
I can see your point. I can agree with you on the sense of storytelling. In a storytelling sense, I completely agree with you, Asmogan. I am just giving you the story as I am the information as I am given. I agree with you also that there are things that are supposed to be so out there that the characters have no chance. But the problem is, we jumped that bridge way long ago, ever since Classic. I mean, Classic, one of the Voidlords is Cthulhu, which was one of the...
Yes, but it's always been speculated we only defeated his physical form. And even then we didn't kill him.
Yeah,
but he hasn't
we pushed him back. That's more believable than straight up defeating, than killing, than annihilating, to completely removing them from the equation.
And by the way, Asmogan, as much as you're gonna hate this, they do actually do some justification.
And also, there was always the idea that because they were in the physical realm of Azeroth, they had to obey the physical realm's laws, meaning they had to have a physical form. In their own realms, I always understood it as in their own realms. It's not the case. They don't have physical limited forms in their own native realms.
Okay, so then since Cataclysm, because that's when we defeated Ragnaros, the Fire Lord.
I already thought the Ragnaros was a bit crazy as well.
Well, yeah.
But even then, again, I always thought it was we beat his physical form.
Yeah.
Okay, not necessarily disagree with you on the storytelling, because the problem, again, this is a problem that I was alluding in the chat earlier. There is such a thing as bad guy inflation. We already defeated all gods. We already defeated warriors empowered by the old gods. We already defeated Satan, even though he's just in prison.
Well, the thing is I'm glad, one thing I will say I'm glad in the storytelling they didn't have us do is we actually fought and killed Sargeras ourselves. Like, he wasn't even really killed. He was just latched back with the other Titans.
Yeah. In fact,
if they had made us kill him, I would have given up entirely.
You can say that about every major villain. That, for example, Sardenathrius, the Eternal One of the last raid, he's undead either. He's just imprisoned inside of his sword. Spoilers for someone that hasn't beaten that raid for whatever fucking reason, but
isn't it years old now? I hope everybody would have beaten it by now.
Yeah. At this point, but I
and Shadowlands wise, I haven't played any of the Shadowlands raids, so don't spoil those. But if actually, are there any out right now?
Yeah, there are. Actually, I think there's only one out right now. I think they've
Okay.
released the first.
Because I know
raid.
Torghast is out, but that's dungeon.
Yeah, that's a dungeon. The next raid, they're supposed to bring in Sylvanas and the Eye of the Jailer, but again,
Are we actually going to
I
finally
haven't
kill
seen-
Sylvanas?
Probably not.
Probably not.
This is another dumb theory, but you have seen what happened to Uther, right? That he saw.
Yeah, I made it to that part through Bastion, that he's been corrupted and...
Yeah, that's what people think is happening with Sylvanas. That the jailer has one piece of her soul, and that's how he is manipulating her. So during the fight, yes, we killed quote unquote killed Sylvanas, but that just means that she reunites part of her soul, and she will come back whole in the future. That's what people are speculating. This is a speculation, but
I hope it's not accurate. I hope when we kill the bitch, we kill the bitch.
You know
I
what I would
want-
like to see? 'Cause
I
know
hope
that's
so
not gonna
because
happen.
we'll go back to you, Ludus, in 1 second. I hope so because we know that Sylvanas actually drops a legendary bow for hunters, so I don't think she will be back. But yeah.
I would love to see if they do bring Sylvanas back, bring her back as a high elf,
Fuck
like
you.
fully restored. That would be
Preemptively
so
fuck
great.
you if that's accurate.
That would be
Don't
so
think-
great. That'd be the
I
best
don't-
troll ever.
I don't think they will do that because they just flat out don't like high elves.
No, here's why though. Here's what you could do with that. Okay, imagine a high elf Sylvanas. Who are the high elves sided with? Not the fucking horde.
Oh wait, Carnith Corn wants in on this conversation. Let's pull him in.
Yeah, you can come in. Yeah, and I agree with you, and that's what people have been saying. That's why the Alliance wanted high elves when the allied races were first found out. But Blizzard went
You'd
to the
have
trouble that
Sylvanas as alliance.
that would be interesting, but I don't see it happening. Sylvanas, especially with Gen Greymane over there, yeah, he's going to rip her throat out the second she steps in.
I'm good with
into the
that
room.
too.
If Blizzard finally writes him capable of doing so.
Yeah,
No.
He's incapable of catching his own fucking tail. Wait a minute.
Blizzard-
I figured it out. We found another case of plagiarism.
Hmm?
Yes. Gen Greymane is Lehman Russ.
oh,
He's a
come
giant
on.
fucking furry that's incapable of catching his own tail.
You and your Space Wolf for furries bullshit. I'm already agitated right now. Don't get on. It's not
I
hard to
didn't-
piss me off more.
I couldn't resist that, but that was a great connection, though.
Okay,
Hey, you-
let's give Karen, let's give Karen some time. What's up?
So, I'm going to explain you how those realms actually function.
Oh shit!
Because it's kind of stupid.
Is this a thesis or is this simple?
Give us
It's
the
shit.
explain it to a 5-year-old.
Those outside, you cannot go. That inside, you can go.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like you see the border between the wild gods and nature, that border means you can't go. You can't go to nature or life because those are just energies.
Okay.
There is absolutely fucking nothing.
So wait, why? Okay,
No,
fine,
that's
I
not
mean,
true. That's not true.
That used to be true.
Well, that used to be
100%.
true, but it's not true anymore. For example,
Because how
when-
can you go to arcane? Arcane
Right.
is just the magic used by the mages.
Yeah, but for example, take the Void. If you do the introduction for the Void Elves, they have their base in the Void.
Yeah.
That's their complaint.
But that's a new
that's-
fuck up they did because the void used to be just nothing. The void
Oh, yeah.
used to be the void of
well,
anything.
that's what
There
I
was
always
nothing.
thought. That's what I always thought Shadowlands was as well. It was not a realm of anything physical. It was just a domain where the souls went. That's
No,
why
it-
when we found out there was going to be Bastion with this physical landscape, and I was like, to me, listen,
Souls are physical in WoW.
completely sidestepping the fact that we have fought Old Gods of War, we have fought the Burning Legion, we have fought these what was once considered outlandish, unbeatable enemies, and have defeated them.
Yeah.
With Shadowlands, though, even compared to those things, unless I'm missing some old school lore that described them as physical planes.
Only those in the middle.
I
Only
never...
decay, earth, water.
Hell,
Now that I
even-
think about it, originally the Shadowlands. Remember the sepia-thon that happens when you die? That was supposed to be the Shadowlands.
Hey, the what?
I know it wasn't actually supposed. The Shadowlands were the spiral that you
Remember,
would see if you
remember
look
when
up.
you die in Classic?
Yes.
How the screen looks ethereal? That was supposed to be the Shadowlands.
Actually, it was what you will see when you put your camera up. The if you look up while you are dead, you will see like this twirl.
Yeah, like a vortex.
Yeah, that would have been actually quote unquote the Shadowland, because you get pulled up into the afterlife. But you don't, because you are special. Because everyone is a special boy.
The player
But yeah,
character.
The writer,
usually
yeah.
it used to be you cannot go to the necromantic realm because there is nothing. It's the energy. Because you see
Same
on the map, you
with Fel, Holy Nature, Arcane, Shadow.
like the Burning Legion was made out of the Fel. You cannot go to the Fel because they are made of the Fel.
Okay, so well, since we already pointed out that they've already kind of... So, as we've already established that Shadowlands is a physical plane with metaphysical souls running around, which I'm not even gonna get down.
Yeah,
There's
always
already-
what the guys
there's
say.
already- there's
That's why
already-
you have ghosts as enemies.
The Shadowlands is already so incredibly fucked in terms of sense to me that I'm not even gonna get down that. Let's just sidewind that. For future expansions, though,
For future expansions, again the speculation is what I told you. They think that it's going to be either the war against the light or it will be the war against the void.
Yeah.
But again,
will-
we don't know one way or the other. But that's the only thing that makes sense anymore.
What would make sense? We were never in the fire.
makes
We were
sense,
never at the
and this
spirit realm.
shit do not go together.
Like we were never in the spirit realm. We were never in water, earth, or decay, or air, or the Emerald Dream. Those will still be open venues, because
We are-
there should not be a void. Because
So we
the
got
void
another
is void.
7 expansions.
Maybe.
Oh no! Because remember, there's always going to be one in between where the Alliance and the Horde try and kill each other. So 14.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
more or
the-
less.
Also, technically, we already went to the Emerald Dream. The Emerald Dream. The problem with it is that Blizzard has already made the decision that they don't want to do that.
That's another
expansion.
thing I want to throw out there. The Emerald Dream was supposed to be another example of an ethereal thing.
Yep.
Yes
no,
and
no. It
No.
was supposed to be Azeroth if sapient species didn't exist. If everything was just wild.
It's more of a
Okay, I remember in
Blueprint.
Warcraft 3, as it was explained, that the druids, including our favorite king druid,
Melly.
Malfurion, were in the Emerald Dream. And the Emerald Dream was an ethereal plane. Yes, that had a physical description, but that was the interpretation of the ethereal plane by the druids.
Yes.
Well,
and-
Has
Is
that
this the
been retconned,
blueprint?
or did I hear that wrong?
Well, no,
It-
that's yes and no. So druids can send not only their spirits to the Emerald Dream, but there are also cases of being able to send your physical body to the Emerald Dream. And
On
this
rare
happens-
occasions.
Well, no, this
Yes.
happens in the I
Emerald
can't
Nightmare Raid.
remember- No,
It happens in the Emerald Nightmare Raid.
Okay, but other than the Emerald Nightmare Raid, it's when you do, I won't think it's Legion, when you play through a druid, your class hall is actually in the fucking Emerald Dream.
Yep.
So you can actually physically go there.
I think
Yes.
all these realms are getting really devalued.
Like they fucked it up, like brutally.
Like, can you imagine how unimpressive hell or like in the real world, how unimpressive and how pathetic Hell and Heaven would come off if we could just visit them?
Very much.
Like, all of a sudden, the gravitas of being sent to hell, the gravitas of going to heaven. Like, I'm not religious, but like just as an
Yeah.
example, If we could just open up a door and go to one or the other, and then come back, and even when we went, we could punch a demon in the face and actually do damage and actually put it down. All of a sudden, what kind of significance would either realm hold?
I get.
I don't
I
know.
hear you.
That's how I
agree
feel
with
about
you.
all this shit at the
I
moment.
hear you, and I agree. And I agree with what you are saying. From a story point, they have fucked up immensely the lore. I mean, this entire thing wasn't. This cosmology chart wasn't even a thing on the old lore in Warcraft 3. So
Like,
and-
we went into the Fire Realm and killed Ragnaros. We didn't kill a manifestation, we killed him.
Yes, just as we even went to the airplane and we killed Alakir as well. The only elemental gods we haven't killed have been the one from water that I don't remember his name, and
Neptulon.
Neptune. Yeah,
And Fat Chick. I don't remember the other element.
And fat
Tharsane.
shit.
I remember she's really fat and has like little feet.
Again, Tharsane. That's
Okay,
that's how I
so
pronounce
I've
it.
been under a false impression with the Ragnaros thing for years, because I always thought we just destroyed his physical manifestation.
We did that in Vanilla,
We did that.
but in
yeah,
Cataclysm we killed the real Ragnaros, who got then replaced by
he got
some
replaced
little
by another dude. Yeah,
like fire guy with a small spear.
yeah, and there is supposed to be a small cult of Dark Iron Dwarfs that try to revive him, but yeah, as far as the lore goes,
I think you
he
killed them
did.
all.
No, in the introduction for the Dark Iron Dwarfs, that's how you see them, and they
Don't
get
you
away.
kill them in that introduction?
No, they get away. They get away.
Okay.
So that's a story hook that they might follow, they might not, but it's there.
Here's Ragnaros again for the third time. This
But
time,
people love
not this
Ragnaros.
mobility scooter.
I mean, we're going to kill Kel'Thuzad in the next raid, so it's Kel'Thuzad for the third
Was
time.
that again?
Yes, KT
That's
will be there.
The third time. We killed him in Classic. We killed him in Wrath of the Lich. No, we killed him twice in Wrath of the Lich King.
Technically,
No.
technically, Kel'Thuzad wasn't. Well, he was killed.
Well,
But
he went
his-
into his phalanx.
His urn, his whatever.
His
But
phylactery.
it's
Phylactery,
still
yeah.
shit to have a
that
boss
wasn't
3 times.
destroyed.
It's still
Yeah,
shit
that's
to have a boss 3 times. Like it's, I think, Kael'thas is also a boss again.
Kel'Thas has been a boss technically 3 times, but the last time that we quote unquote fought him was in the Sun King Salvation on.
Anyone else
Castle
not
Knight.
like I liked Kale in Warcraft 3.
Yeah,
I
I like
ever
Kale as
since not so much.
They
Yeah,
made
he
him a
was
total
really-
bitch.
He was nice on Warcraft 3. The problem is they really fucked his characterization on.
But it was
the
a
Burning
really
Crusade.
difficult boss fight.
Yeah, they fucked his characterization in Burning Crusade. So him coming up on Kasunathia to me is a sign that Blizzard admits that they did him dirty and they tried to redeem him. Question is whether or not they are going to succeed.
I hope they do it for fucking Ner'zhul.
I know I'm about to meet Lady Vash in Shadowlands
So
in one of the
Christ.
realms. Apparently she's there. She's in the
Lady
same
Vash
realm.
is a Necrolord.
Yeah,
you
she's
meet
in.
him in the main. You met him in the main story. How can you not know this?
Huh?
She's Lady Vash appears in the main story.
I know.
Because he's
I'm
already-
not. I haven't beat Shadowlands. I'm still playing through it.
Oh,
That's what I said earlier. I haven't even gotten to Torghast yet.
I wish we
I
went to the
stopped
Decay realm.
playing the campaign at Bastion because I was losing interest fast.
that was okay. Well, that was the first.
But I know because a friend of mine spoiled it for me that in the Necrolord's place, she's a character you encounter there. I haven't
Yeah.
encountered her yet.
Her being in with the Necrolords doesn't make any fucking sense.
Kinda does. I mean, the Necrolords don't care about your morality. They only care about how ruthless you are.
Yeah, but she doesn't care about like ugly people. She's vain as fuck.
And you, Mr. Finkind, have no right to get indignant at me like, oh, this is the main storyline. How have you not encountered her? I said earlier, while you were here, that I haven't played through the Shadowlands campaign yet.
Sorry, I received a call, so I muted the stream for one moment, so I missed that.
I fucking hate the law.
Yeah, I think at this point,
Like every time I see that fucking chart, I get mad.
Yeah, because they tried to explain something that should.
Like
never
there's
have been
nothing in
explained.
the void. Arcane, if you would be able to see everything arcane, you would just see atoms. There would be nothing else.
I am kind of okay with the places with the different forces being physical places, because that's how D&D manages it. If you go
Well-
arcane, well, there is a place of arcane. You can
Well-
actually go there, but it's really, really, really alien. It's like it's a place of thought. You
The-
move with your thoughts.
The
literally.
idea was they did battle about reality because they don't really have a place to be. Because undead and the void, they have usually decay. And the void and titans are fighting over earth. White gods are fighting with the titans over water, and it was supposed to be like that.
you know who
But we
I
never got it.
You know who I envy out of the Warcraft fandom, out
Those who
of the
don't know.
community. No, the RPers,
Oh yeah.
because they ignore all of this shit.
Well,
They just go to
certain things you cannot
Goldshire.
ignore.
They have their fun for an afternoon, and that's it. They don't even raid. They don't do nothing.
They
Just-
fuck a gnome as a druid.
They just
Yeah,
they just enjoy life. Like they're enjoying the game all the time because it's just a basis in which they role play and they just play characters. That's it.
Hey, Asmagon.
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to go really soon.
Suddenly there are a bunch of Vulpera in
Okay.
Okay.
Goldshire.
It's almost like we've almost gone 2 hours.
Almost 4 hours. It's almost 4 hours.
Dude,
No, no,
I
no,
can
no.
go
We've
even
almost
more.
gone 2 hours over normal, is what I was
Okay.
saying.
Well, I guess I'll leave it off on. I give up entirely on Warcraft lore.
Yeah,
Post
best thing to
wrath.
do.
Yeah, that's probably the best choice.
Like what I told you, fuck it.
I give
Forget
up
about
entirely.
it.
Like it just doesn't make any sense where they're gonna
I
go.
hate it, I know it.
I envy the RPers because they don't worry about any of this shit. I feel really bad for the hardcore fans who are never gonna walk away from this game, no matter until the servers shut down. Those
And
guys.
then they will commit suicide.
They might like. It's actually a concern of mine because there will be people. I played since vanilla. I was a little kid, and I haven't stopped playing more or less. Like I've taken breaks, but I've always come back because it's at this point an addiction. It's a habit. Like it's a part of my life is playing Warcraft. But I feel that one day I can certainly walk away. At least I hope. But for the hardcore players, people have been playing day one since vanilla launched, pre-bought every expansion, lost friends, probably gone through a couple divorces with this game being their only
That's
therapy.
one gold.
I wish that wasn't a joke.
Honestly, the people are, no matter how much they fuck the lore,
have
no matter
taken
how
breaks.
much the gameplay either gets too streamlined or too complicated or too weird or too out there, will always continue to play. I feel really bad for them when this game finally hits that moment where Blizzard shut down the servers for one reason or another. I have no idea how they're going to cope.
I will be there to watch the fire.
Oh, God. Anyone else predict death threats to the devs if that gets announced? It's like, oh, unfortunately,
Oh,
due to
definitely,
this,
100%.
They already received death threats, so
they already do for stupid things.
That's
So
not- yeah, that's not a prediction.
it's a
The devs,
guaranteed
Bobby
fucking T.
Kotick, their wives,
I don't know.
their pets.
Are you guys looking forward to further expansions, non-lore wise, like at least for possible gameplay mechanics that might be introduced?
No, I dropped the Blizzard launch and I will never reinstall that shit.
I can't blame you. I ought to do that, but I play
Lore-wise-
StarCraft still.
Lore-wise, no, I just keep peace with it because why the fuck not?
I would have loved to see the Realm of Decay, but we can forget about that because that's not going to be better than Shadowlands.
That's
Bigger in
Shadowlands,
scope, I mean.
basically. That's Shadowlands, basically.
Yeah,
so-
I think they just took to make the Necrolords be more or less the Decay realm,
yeah, that's basically it.
which is oh well, you can just play Dark Souls and you get the Decay realm.
Yeah.
Play Dark
Lore-wise,
Souls.
lore-wise, there is always new bullshit they can create. The question is how out there is it? And I agree with Asmogan. They have gone way ahead. They're really out there. They jumped the shark, but they jumped the shark a long time ago. Not on. It wasn't on Shadowlands. It was on Cataclysm.
Hey guys, let's go to the Fell Realm. Oh god, why is everything on fucking fire?
Again, it exists, and we know it exists. That's why
Yeah,
we
but
don't
it was supposed to just be the energy that the Burning Legion get birthed out. It's not supposed to be a real place.
I don't write the bullshit, dude. I don't write the bullshit.
I know.
Okay. Well,
But and the Disorder and Death, that will just be the grouping.
one thing I definitely gotta do is I gotta play through Classic. I still haven't done that. I started a character with my dad and we were playing for a while because he played vanilla. That's how I got into Warcraft. When I was like 6, he was like, "Hey, you play with the PlayStation that your brother had, and you like Warcraft 3, right? Yeah. All right, sit at this computer." And for like 6 or 7 hours straight one afternoon, it was like late at night. He had to go to bed because he had to work the next day. But he spent so much. That for me is probably one of the reasons I could probably never truly give up on World of Warcraft. Walk away from it, yes, but like give up hope. I'll probably give up. I give up hope for the lore already. I've given up on that. But give up hope that the game can at least be fun again and solidly enjoyable. Part of me never wants to give up that because this game has been a great connection between me and my dad. When my mom played WoW, we played together for a lot. She played a priest. And my sister played, and my dad. My whole family at one time were playing together, and I was the only one who kept playing. But I always had that connection with my dad, my sister, and those memories. WoW has been a part of my life since I was 6 years old, and if we count Warcraft 3, since I was 5. I've been connected to this universe and this world much longer than other universes. I'm also a forever fan of like Warhammer 40,000. I don't think I'll ever be able to walk away from it.
I did play it also for that long, more or less, but
Well, walk away, not give up on. I should specify.
I gave up. I have zero trust in them.
I have no trust that they'll actually do anything, but like a part of me just doesn't want to.
Like
It's a senseless kind of.
after a while, I just went like, "Why the fuck am I doing it again?" In the next expansion, everything I did now will have no weight.
No, the last time they talked as a dev, they talked about how borrowed power is a problem that they want to fix, but I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, me neither. They only want to go up. They do not expand and actual stuff that needs expanding.
Yeah, kinda, but the problem again, this is a problem that WoW had during Mist of Pandaria, because what happened in Mist of Pandaria is that they kept expanding, which meant that you had about 50 spells on your spell book, but in reality you only
Before you guys can continue this tangent and down in general chat if you guys want, but me and Lewis got to end the stream.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
also done
sorry.
because I'm just getting, well, not mad, but it's
All right, then going to jump out.
All right,
Later.
thanks for the convo, guys.
Okay, dude.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Finkarn. Thank you. Thank you. I just
Normal
realized you
Karn.
both have Karn and Finkarn, so it's like the yin and yang. Thank you, Karn. Thank you, Finkarn, for the conversation. Thank you,
Yeah,
Finkarn, for your perspective. That was valuable. Yeah. Yeah. And they hopped out. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it there, though. We've been streaming for 4 hours. I'm sure Lewis has got other stuff to do.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I have to be at work in an hour.
I'm gonna go eat something. It's not lunch now. It's probably an early dinner, but I'm gonna go eat something, and then I'm probably gonna start my stream for Black Mesa. So, thank you all very much, and have a good afternoon.